Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Luffy masters all 3 Haki at age of 14 and kills Akainu? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the Alkaysare for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. Marineford, the stronghold of justice. The crescent-shaped island of Marineford stood as a fortress of unparalleled might. At its heart loomed the imposing marine headquarters building, surrounded by an intricate web of defensive fortifications. Towering cannons protruded from these defenses like the fangs of ravenous beasts, ready to strike down any who dared approach. Beyond the shores of the island, hundreds of marine warships formed an impenetrable blockade, encircling Marineford in a steel embrace. At the mouth of the Crescent Bay, the most advanced battleships ever constructed formed a solid maritime defense line, their presence a testament to humanity's technological prowess and determination to protect this bastion of order. Today, however, the atmosphere was anything but calm. Elite marines summoned from across the globe filled every corner of the island, bracing for the imminent arrival of the Whitebeard pirates. Tension hung thick in the air, anticipation crackling like static electricity. Below the towering marine headquarters, a massive execution platform had been erected. Upon it stood Porteous d'Ace, the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard pirates, bound and awaiting his fate. Standing before him were the 3 admirals of the navy, their formidable presence ensuring no escape would be possible. Nearby, the summoned Shichibukai also waited, their expressions sharp and focused, prepared for whatever chaos might unfold. In the midst of this oppressive silence, Fleet Admiral Sengoku revealed Ace's true identity to the world, a revelation broadcast live via Den Den Mushi to every corner of the globe. It didn't take long for the response to arrive. From the horizon emerged a vast armada of the Whitebeard pirates, their ship stretching endlessly across the sea. Moments later, the flagship Moby Dick and its 3 escorts surfaced within the Crescent Bay itself, their sudden appearance sending shockwaves through the assembled forces. Standing proudly on the deck of the Moby Dick, Edward Newgate, better known as Whitebeard, let out a booming laugh that echoed across the battlefield. "Ha. Ace, my son. Are you holding up alright? Dad?" Seeing Whitebeard appear, Ace's composure shattered instantly. Tears welled up in his eyes as he called out to the man he considered his father. "Damn you, Whitebeard. To think he'd break through like this." Sengoku grimaced, his expression darkening. This wasn't part of the plan. Ha. Whitebeard roared with laughter once more before clenching his fists tightly. With a mighty roar, he crossed his arms, muscles bulging as if preparing to unleash devastation upon the world. "He's going to use it. The Gorosei no Mi. He's attacking already." The Marines hadn't anticipated such audacity. Without so much as a word, Whitebeard unleashed the full force of his power without warning. In an instant, he swung his fists outward with explosive force. The very air around him cracked under the strain, fissures spreading rapidly throughout the atmosphere. Boom. The deafening explosion shook the seas, as though the ocean itself had been torn apart. Massive waves hundreds of meters high surged into the sky, blotting out the sun and casting the battlefield into shadow. "It's a tsunami." The Marines' faces paled in terror. "Akiji," Sengoku bellowed. "I got it," Akiji sighed, rubbing his temples. "Such a hassle." He slammed his hands onto the armrest of his seat. "Huh?" Both Akainu and Kizaru turned sharply toward him, confusion etched on their faces. "Wah." Akiji's brow furrowed deeply as he realized something horrifying. His devil fruit powers, Haki, martial arts abilities, everything had vanished. Worse still, he couldn't even move from his seat. Rumble. At that moment, thunderous reverberations echoed across the heavens. Bing. Viewing system activated. Pulling relevant individuals. Bing. Chat room initialization underway. Suddenly, a colossal screen descended from the skies, splitting the heavens above Marineford. One side bore a white frame. The other, red. It felt as though some immense object had crashed onto the planet, shaking the entire world to its core. "Whitebeard. Is this the awakened power of your devil fruit? Can the Gorosei no Mi really shake the entire world?" Sengoku stared in disbelief, his face pale with shock. That tremor wasn't just some minor quake, it was as if the entire planet had been struck by a cosmic hammer. Could it truly be the Gorosei no Mi? If anything, Whitebeard was just as bewildered. The moment he unleashed his power, it vanished completely. Even the towering tsunamis receded back into the ocean as if they'd never existed. "Sengoku, are you blind? Do you honestly think my devil fruit can create a giant screen spanning the heavens? Can I summon screens now? What kind of nonsense is this?" Bing. Relevant personnel have been gathered. Bing. All participants may freely converse in the chat room and engage in trivia during the viewing process. Rewards await. Top 3 participants in each quiz will receive prizes. Prizes include, but are not limited to, Devil fruits, enhanced physical abilities, swordsmanship mastery, Haki proficiency, unique items, resurrection tools, and more. Everyone is encouraged to participate and seize the opportunity. Note: during the viewing period, the entire world will be enveloped in an energy suppression field. No abilities or actions can be used. Fear not, the world is safe for now. The announcement rang out directly in everyone's minds, leaving them stunned. What? The whole world is suppressed. Then there are rewards. Even resurrection tools. Wait, why resurrection tools? Goldie Roger. Chat room. What's this nonsense? Hello, anyone there? Marineford, the stronghold of justice. The crescent-shaped island of Marineford stood as a fortress of unparalleled might. At its heart loomed the imposing marine headquarters building, surrounded by an intricate web of defensive fortifications. Towering cannons protruded from these defenses like the fangs of ravenous beasts, ready to strike down any who dared approach. Beyond the shores of the island, hundreds of marine warships formed an impenetrable blockade, encircling Marineford in a steel embrace. At the mouth of the Crescent Bay, the most advanced battleships ever constructed formed a solid maritime defense line, their presence a testament to humanity's technological prowess and determination to protect this bastion of order. Today, however, the atmosphere was anything but calm. Elite marines summoned from across the globe filled every corner of the island, bracing for the imminent arrival of the Whitebeard pirates. Tension hung thick in the air, anticipation crackling like static electricity. Below the towering marine headquarters, a massive execution platform had been erected. Upon it stood Porteous d'Ace, the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard pirates, bound and awaiting his fate. Standing before him were the 3 admirals of the navy, their formidable presence ensuring no escape would be possible. Nearby, the summoned Shichibukai also waited, their expressions sharp and focused, prepared for whatever chaos might unfold. In the midst of this oppressive silence, Fleet Admiral Sengoku revealed Ace's true identity to the world, a revelation broadcast live via Den Den Mushi to every corner of the globe. It didn't take long for the response to arrive. From the horizon emerged a vast armada of the Whitebeard pirates, their ship stretching endlessly across the sea. Moments later, the flagship Moby Dick and its 3 escorts surfaced within the Crescent Bay itself, their sudden appearance sending shockwaves through the assembled forces. Standing proudly on the deck of the Moby Dick, Edward Newgate, better known as Whitebeard, let out a booming laugh that echoed across the battlefield. Ha 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 ha. Ace, my son. Are you holding up alright? Dad. Seeing Whitebeard appear, Ace's composure shattered instantly. Tears welled up in his eyes as he called out to the man he considered his father. Damn you, Whitebeard. To think he'd break through like this. Sengoku grimaced, his expression darkening. This wasn't part of the plan. Ha 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 ha. Whitebeard roared with laughter once more before clenching his fists tightly. With a mighty roar, he crossed his arms, muscles bulging as if preparing to unleash devastation upon the world. He's going to use it. The Gorosei no Mi. He's attacking already. The Marines hadn't anticipated such audacity. Without so much as a word, Whitebeard unleashed the full force of his power without warning. In an instant, he swung his fists outward with explosive force. The very air around him cracked under the strain, fissures spreading rapidly throughout the atmosphere. Boom. A deafening explosion shook the seas, as though the ocean itself had been torn apart. Massive waves hundreds of meters high surged into the sky, blotting out the sun and casting the battlefield into shadow. It's a tsunami. The Marines' faces paled in terror. Akiji. Sengoku bellowed. I got it, Akiji sighed, rubbing his temples. Such a hassle. He slammed his hands onto the armrest of his seat. Huh? Both Akainu and Kizaru turned sharply toward him, confusion etched on their faces. Wah. Akiji's brow furrowed deeply as he realized something horrifying. His devil fruit powers, Haki, martial arts abilities, everything had vanished. Worse still, he couldn't even move from his seat. Rumble. At that moment, thunderous reverberations echoed across the heavens. Ding. Viewing system activated. Pulling relevant individuals. Ding. Chat room initialization underway. Suddenly, a colossal screen descended from the skies, splitting the heavens above Marineford. One side bore a white frame. The other, red. It felt as though some immense object had crashed onto the planet, shaking the entire world to its core. Whitebeard. Is this the awakened power of your devil fruit? Can the Gorosei no Mi really shake the entire world? Sengoku stared in disbelief, his face pale with shock. That tremor wasn't just some minor quake, it was as if the entire planet had been struck by a cosmic hammer. Could it truly be the Gorosei no Mi? If anything, Whitebeard was just as bewildered. The moment he unleashed his power, it vanished completely. Even the towering tsunamis receded back into the ocean as if they'd never existed. Sengoku, are you blind? Do you honestly think my devil fruit can create a giant screen spanning the heavens? Can I summon screens now? What kind of nonsense is this? Ding. Relevant personnel have been gathered. Bing. All participants may freely converse in the chat room and engage in trivia during the viewing process. Rewards await. Top 3 participants in each quiz will receive prizes. Prizes include, but are not limited to, devil fruits, enhanced physical abilities, swordsmanship mastery, Haki proficiency, unique items, resurrection tools, and more. Everyone is encouraged to participate and seize the opportunity. Note. During the viewing period, the entire world will be enveloped in an energy suppression field. No abilities or actions can be used. Fear not, the world is safe for now. The announcement rang out directly in everyone's minds, leaving them stunned. What? The whole world is suppressed. And there are rewards. Even resurrection tools. Wait, why resurrection tools? Goldie Roger. Chat room. What's this nonsense? Hello, anyone there? The massive screen spanning the heavens displayed vivid images of Monkey D. Garp and a young Monkey D. Luffy. Many in the audience were utterly baffled by what they saw. Why was this footage of Garp and Luffy appearing on the celestial screen? Did Garp create this viewing system? But no. Everyone knew that Garp didn't possess a devil fruit ability. Monkey D. Garp. Why are they showing the time I left Luffy with those bandits? Strange, the clarity of this footage is impeccable. If someone had been nearby to secretly film it, my Haki should have detected them. Sengoku. Indeed. It's impossible for anyone to get so close without you noticing. This confirms that the viewing system isn't something humans could achieve. Goldie Roger. What? Are you people still doubting the power of this viewing system? I've been dead for over 20 years, yet here I am talking to you all. What more do you need? Sengoku. Don't be ridiculous. How can we even trust that you're real? Goldie Roger. Oh. Then shall I recount the details of the Rick Fleet battle? Remember how you, as a lieutenant back then, escaped by disguising yourself in a woman's dress? Sengoku. Shut your mouth. Shiki. What? There's actually a story like that. Roger, spill the beans. Charlotte Linlin. Wahaha. I'm curious too. Borsellino. Do tell. Sengoku. Tsuru. Sakazuki. Borsellino. Woo, I must have dozed off just now. Probably muttered something in my sleep. Everyone. While chatter buzzed through the chat room, the large screen continued playing its content uninterrupted. Soon, Garp handed some instructions to Dayton, entrusting her with Luffy's care and asking her to train him into a proper marine recruit. Kid, from now on, you'll help out around here with chores. As soon as Garp left, Dayton completely forgot his instructions. Who's this brat? The freckled boy walked out of the house yawning. He glanced at Luffy with visible annoyance. He's the kid your grandpa dropped off. His name is Monkey D. Luffy. Probably your little brother. Dayton looked at the freckled boy, smacking the back of his head lightly. You're responsible for him now. Make sure he helps out with chores. Grandpa's kid. TCH. The freckled boy sneered, grabbed an iron pipe, and ran off. Hey. Wait for me. Take me with you. Luffy chased after him, disappearing into the distance. Ugh, they're both cut from the same cloth. Dayton sighed exasperatedly and turned to the surrounding bandits. What are you standing around for? Their work is now your responsibility. Luffy tried to chase Ace but failed miserably. Instead, he stumbled upon a hornet's nest and ended up covered in stings. The next day, Ace still ignored Luffy, leading to another round of I run, you chase. Luffy slipped again, nearly falling into the jaws of a crocodile while crossing a river. Day 3, Day 4, Day 5. Luffy never succeeded. Every attempt to catch up with Ace ended with him stumbling into bizarre, life-threatening situations. In short, 7-year-old Luffy spent every day teetering on the edge of death. Unquixit da Flamingo. Fufufu, this kid truly has an unbreakable spirit. Rockiru. Luffy really is putting in the EFFORT. Shanks. Hahaha, he sure is trying hard, but damn, this is painful to watch, hahaha. Monkey D. Luffy. Shanks. How are you doing? Shanks. Haha, I'm fine, Luffy. What about you? Monkey D. Luffy. I'm good, yeah, totally fine. Luffy didn't want to dwell on his current predicament. After all, he was already at Marineford. What good would it do to talk about it now? Goldie Roger. Little Shanks. Finally chiming in, huh? Shanks. Captain, I saw you chatting lively with your old crewmates earlier, so I stayed quiet. Long time no see, I miss you, Captain. Back when Shanks served aboard Roger's ship, Roger always treated him kindly. In fact, before turning himself in, Roger entrusted his iconic straw hat to Shanks not merely as a gift, but as a symbol of passing down his dreams. Roger revealed some secrets about the gum fruit to Shanks and hoped he'd inherit his legacy to become the next pirate king. Goldie Roger. How's the mission I entrusted to you going? Shanks. I haven't pursued it. But I've found someone more suitable. Goldie Roger. Good. I trust your judgment. Roger didn't press further. He wasn't foolish enough to ask directly in the chat room who this more suitable person might be. Monkey D. Garp. Roger, what kind of cryptic nonsense are you two talking about? Share if there's anything fun. Shanks. Trust me, you wouldn't find it amusing. Bull D. Roger. Hahaha, none of your business. Speaking of which, Garp, those two kids in the video are your grandsons, right? Your eldest grandson seems quite mischievous. He almost crushed your youngest with a rock. Just like you. Monkey D. Garp. Monkey D. Luffy. Damn it. Even if you're the Pirate King Gold D. Roger, I won't let you badmouth Ace. Gold D. Roger. Haha, such a devoted little brother. So your brother's name is Ace Wait. What did you say? His name is Ace. Suddenly, hearing the name Ace, Roger froze. Something clicked in his mind. And? From the earlier dialogue, it was clear that the freckled boy in the video was also brought by Garp. Years ago, before Roger's child was born, he entrusted the baby to Garp. Though Roger never met his child, he personally named him Portgas D. Ace. Now, hearing the name Ace and piecing together the other clues, Roger couldn't stay calm any longer. Monkey D. Luffy. Of course. He's Portgas D. Ace, my big brother. By the way, I'm gonna be the future Pirate King. Portgas D. Ace. The moment those words left Luffy's mouth, Gold D. Roger's heart skipped a beat. If it had just been Ace, he might have dismissed it as a coincidence. But Portgas D. that was the surname of his late wife, Rouge. There was no doubt about it now. This Portgas D. Ace was his son, the child he entrusted to Garp before his execution. My son. Just moments ago, he had joked about how mischievous this kid seemed, intending to tease Garp. But now, that joke had come back to bite him in the most unexpected way. Sengoku. I originally planned to announce Ace's identity after the war began, but since Roger has appeared now, I'll say it outright. The 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, Fire Fist Ace, his full name is Portgas D. Ace. Portgas D. Ace. Shut up. Sengoku. Portgas D. Ace, reveal the name of your biological father. At these words, Roger's anticipation soared. Was he finally going to hear his own son call him dad? But. Portgas D. Ace. My father's name is Whitebeard. Old D. Roger. What? Edward Newgate, Guerrero. Sorry Roger. You know how it is, all my crew members are my family. So naturally, Ace being my son makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Rox D. Zebek. Hahaha. Exactly. If Ace is Garp's grandson, then by extension, you, Whitebeard, must be Garp's son too. Makes total sense, right? Shiki. PFFT. Jahahaha. Charlotte Linlin. Mwahaha. Edward Newgate. HMPH. Rox. All you're good for is running your mouth. Gold D. Roger. No. That's not right. Rox D. Zebek. What do you mean? One dad for Ace, one grandpa for Ace. What part of that logic did I get wrong? Finally getting everyone's attention, Rox felt rather pleased with himself. Gold D. Roger. I am Ace's father. Huh? The room fell into stunned silence. For several seconds, no one said a word. Rox D. Zebek. What's this now? Roger, are you trying to say you want to be Garp's son too? Wang Zhai. Haha. Garp thinks of you as a brother, but you're aiming to be his son instead. Charlotte Linlin. Mwahaha. Damn, only now do I realize how hilarious all you bastards are when you open your mouths. Monkey D. Garp. Enough. Since things have gone this far, I'll make it clear. Yes, Ace is indeed Roger's biological child. I took him in and raised him. The moment those words left Garp's lips, shockwaves rippled through everyone present. The young man tied to the execution platform awaiting his public execution at Marineford, he was none other than the son of the Pirate King, Gold D. Roger. No wonder the Marines were going to such lengths to execute him publicly at their headquarters. No wonder Whitebeard was willing to wage an all-out war against the Marines to rescue him. So that was it. In an instant, everyone understood why this war had erupted. Tsuru. Garp. Sengoku. Zephyr. Sai. Kuzan. Mr. Garp. Borsellino. What? There's something like this going on. Sakazuki. Damn it. As a Marine Vice Admiral, how could you allow such a thing to happen? Sengoku. Sakazuki. Watch your tongue. Portgas D. Ace. Nonsense. My father is one and only Whitebeard. Portgas D. Rouge. Ace. Portgas D. Ace. Mother. Though Ace despised his lineage as the son of the Pirate King, he knew full well the story of his mother carrying him for 20 months and giving birth under immense suffering. He understood the depth of her love. Portgas D. Rouge. Ace, believe me, Roger was a hero who stood tall above all others. Neither your father nor I were able to spend a single day with you, and for that, we're deeply sorry. But no matter what lies or slander you've heard, please believe me, your father was not a bad man. Gold D. Roger. Ace. Portgas D Ace. Fine. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Either way, my life is already over. Bull D Roger. What do you mean, Ace? Even if you refuse to acknowledge me as your father, don't give up hope. At the very least, you can still consider yourself Whitebeard's son. Monkey D Garp. Roger, it's not what you think. Ace is currently tied to the execution platform at Marineford. He's about to be executed. Bull D Roger. What? Garp. You bastard, I trusted you with Ace's life and you handed him over to be executed. Rox D Zebek. Hahaha. Roger, watch your tone. How dare you speak to your daddy like that? Bull D Roger. Rox, shut the hell up. Monkey D Garp. Roger, I wanted to raise him as a marine. But in the end, he chose the path of piracy. Rox D Zebek. Well, duh. A pirate's offspring should become a pirate. Unlike you, Roger, you let the marines adopt you as their own. What a disgrace to us pirates. Charlotte Linlin. Captain Rox, keep talking. I'm loving every bit of this. But Roger wasn't in any state to entertain their taunts. Bull D Roger. Whitebeard, so you're currently at Marineford because of this, aren't you? Edward Newgate. That's right. Roger, rest assured. Though Ace is your son, he's also my son. I will save him, no matter what. Rox D Zebek. Oh, look at Garp's two fine sons bonding over brotherly love. 1. Bull D Roger. Whitebeard, what are you waiting for? Use your Gura Gura no Mi powers to flip Marineford upside down. Edward Newgate. That's exactly what I intended to do. If this damn viewing system hadn't interrupted, the tsunami I unleashed earlier would have already leveled Marineford. Kuzan. Are you really that confident in yourself? Sengoku. Whitebeard. Don't get too cocky. Once this viewing system ends, it'll be time for you to step out of history's spotlight. As the verbal sparring continued, everyone suddenly noticed a change in the massive screen spanning the heavens. The white frame side dimmed while the red frame side grew brighter, drawing all eyes toward it once more. The big shots were bickering, but it didn't stop others from chatting normally. Usopp. The screen with the white border we just saw seemed to have Luffy as the main character. What will this red-bordered screen play? Frankie. It was the captain before, now it's our turn as crew members, right? Yeah, super. Scaramanga poo. What's so great about showing mere crew members? Maybe this screen is just transitioning between supernovas. It showed Straw Hat earlier, now it's probably someone else's turn. Eustace Kid. Better show me next. Trafalgar Law. Kid, you might as well stop dreaming. Straw Hat clearly has a certain quality you lack. Perhaps they'll keep showing more of him. Eustace Kid. Law, if you can't say anything worthwhile, just shut up. Or do you want me to crush your head right here? Trafalgar Law. You don't even believe that nonsense yourself, do you? Capone Beach. We came here to watch the Marineford War, but instead, we're being forced to watch this still. I'm curious what they'll show next. The day was supposed to be the day the Marineford War began, and on Sabati Archipelago, there were massive screens set up for live broadcasts. All these supernovas had already found their best spots to enjoy the show. Then, this viewing system suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As the red-bordered screen fully lit up, the scene unfolded. The sunny hillside. Several spacious wooden houses stood together, forming a simple estate. In front of the main house, a group of bandits faced a burly old man in a black suit. Next to the old man stood a 7-year-old boy wearing a straw hat, idly picking his nose. The scene looked eerily familiar. Marco. Didn't we see this scene before? Or am I losing my memory? Jozu. It's not you losing your memory, I remember seeing it too. Joan. Why does it look exactly like the one we saw earlier? Kuriha. Don't rush. Let's keep watching, there must be a reason behind this. Rox D Zebek. Are they messing with us? Just as everyone was puzzled, something different happened in the scene. Who's this kid? Ace appeared again with the same disdainful expression. He glanced at Luffy, then picked up an iron pipe and left. Luffy also glanced at Ace. This guy looks so lazy, he'll never amount to anything. With just a casual glance, Luffy shifted his gaze away. Portgas D Ace. No, this isn't right. Luffy wouldn't act like this. Monkey D Luffy. That's right. I would never badmouth Ace like that in my heart. Shikey. Is it possible that this is Luffy from another world? Monkey D Luffy. Another world. What are you talking about? Shikey. Jahahaha. I'm just guessing randomly. Kuriha. It's not impossible. It seems that Garp, Ace, and that female bandit haven't changed much, but this Luffy is clearly different. Nami. Why does this Luffy seem more mature than ours? Urana is Oro. Be confident and skip the seems part. Vince McSanji. Haha. You're not going to go play with him? Bandit Dayton was surprised to see Luffy ignoring Ace. She assumed kids their age would naturally get along. Time is precious. Why waste it playing around? My grandpa sent me here to train, not to fool around with some brat playing house games. Luffy smirked and shook his head casually. Usopp? What? Luffy actually said something like that. Trafalgar Law. Hey, this red-framed straw hat looks kinda cool when he talks. Portgas D Ace. Even though I know it's not our Luffy, hearing him talk like that makes me want to beat him up. Monkey D Luffy. Don't worry, Ace. I'm not stupid like him. Monkey D Garp. Idiot. What nonsense are you spouting? Clearly, the red-framed Luffy is doing the right thing. If you worked as hard as him, you'd at least be a Navy Vice Admiral by now. Monkey D Luffy. Grandpa, talking is easy. I don't believe he can actually achieve anything through training. Oh, who gave you permission to speak like an adult? Since your grandpa sent you here, starting today, you'll work for us. No free meals. Aiden cracked her knuckles. Truthfully, she didn't mean it. If Luffy slacked off, she wouldn't scold him. Don't mess around. Didn't I say time is precious? I'm going to train. I'll come back for lunch. Oh, make sure there's plenty of food. I eat a lot. Luffy waved dismissively and headed toward the nearby woods. Arg. How infuriating. You brat, I'm definitely teaching you a lesson today. Aiden had a temper too. This little punk acted like he owned the place. If she didn't teach him a lesson, it wouldn't sit right. She immediately ordered 2 burly bandits beside her to give Luffy a beating. Of course, these 2 were Dayton's trusted men and knew how to handle things. They'd only rough him up a bit. The 2 burly bandits rolled up their sleeves and walked toward Luffy with menacing expressions. When the audience saw the 2 bandits approaching to teach Luffy a lesson, many couldn't help but feel a sense of schadenfreude. Look at you acting all high and mighty. Now you're going to get your butt kicked. Ding. Entering the quiz segment. Question. What will Luffy do next? A. Refuse to yield and endure a brutal beating. B. Invoke the name of his grandfather Garp, making the 2 bandits hesitate and retreat. C. Fight the 2 bandits and earn their respect. D. Accidentally reveal his 18-pack abs covered in armament Haki, scaring the bandits into giving him a massage. 2. B. Kneel and beg for mercy, apologizing profusely and pleading for forgiveness. Sengoku. A quiz with prizes. Could it really be possible to win those rewards mentioned earlier? Rox D Zebek. Who cares about all that? Just pick one already. I choose C. I think this kid is someone who doesn't know how to back down. Bull D Roger. That option D is ridiculous. A 7-year-old with armament Haki. Absurd. I'm choosing A. Edward Newgate. Guerrera. I'll just pick something randomly. I choose E. Monkey D Garp. Whitebeard, you're dreaming. This red-framed Luffy clearly isn't the type to back down. I choose D. Edward Newgate. 18-pack abs. Armament Haki. Garp, aren't you the one dreaming here? Monkey D Luffy. I'll follow my grandpa's choice. I choose D too. Suru. I choose B. Joan. I'll go with B as well. That Luffy seems calm and would likely take the simplest and most effective approach. B seems like the most probable answer. Charlotte Linlin. B. If I am not mistaken, the first 3 people to answer correctly get rewards. Vice Admiral Tsuru, Vice Admiral Mamasagi and me. We've got 3 BS right here. Kaido. PFFT. Shiki. Jahahaha. Odin. Indeed, 3 BS. No problem at all. Tsuru. Big Mom, you idiot. Sengoku. I'll choose C. Eustace Kid. I'm going with A, haha. Trafalgar Law. I'll choose D. Who knows, maybe that straw hat over there really does pull out 18-pack abs. The Pone Beach. 18-pack abs. Why don't you say 18-pack pecs instead? In front of a traditional Japanese-style wooden house. As the 2 burly bandits approached, Luffy casually rested his hands on his hips, unintentionally revealing his 18-pack abs. And of course the pitch-black layer of armament Haki covering them. When this scene appeared, everyone watching suddenly widened their eyes in shock. Holy SHT. Armament Haki. In the video, a gust of wind blew, lifting Luffy's red vest higher and fully exposing his 18-pack abs coated in armament Haki. Yes. It was definitely armament Haki. Everyone confirmed it immediately. Now, mastering armament Haki wasn't exactly an earth-shattering feat by itself. But for a 7-year-old to have mastered it, that was absolutely monstrous. Moreover, from the footage, it only showed red-framed Luffy mastering armament Haki at age 7, but it didn't reveal when he might have first learned it. Perhaps he had just learned it at 7, or maybe at 6, or even 5. Hiss. No one dared to think further. Monkey D. Luffy. Huh. Did that version of me really train to awaken armament Haki at 7 years old? By now, Luffy had already seen enough during his time on Amazon Lily to understand what armament Haki was. However, he hadn't mastered it yet. Guzan. Wait, are you kidding me? Even Grandpa Garp didn't master armament Haki at 7. Monkey D. Garp. That's right. I didn't master it until I was 10. Old D. Roger. You bastard, are you trying to show off? Shiki. Mastering armament Haki at 10, oh there's truly a monster, huh? Suru. Looking at it this way, if Luffy had matured early, mastering armament Haki at 7 doesn't seem impossible. Zephyr. Exactly. After all, with Garp's genes in the mix, there's no way this kid's talent could be anything less than extraordinary. Brox D. Zebek. Damn, is Garp's lineage really that strong? In front of the wooden house. As the two bandits approached Luffy, their faces twitched violently when they saw his armament Haki-covered abs. What do you say? Luffy calmly looked at the two men. Hey, little Luffy, you're about to start training, it's gonna be tough. Let me give you a massage first. Yeah. A massage. It'll feel great. Under the intimidation of Luffy's 18-pack abs covered in armament Haki, the two burly bandits instantly transformed into professional masseurs. Clearly, the correct answer was D. Suru. Didn't Garp choose D earlier? If there's a reward, Garp should get it. Monkey D. Luffy. And me. I followed my grandpa's choice. We both get rewards. Kaido. Hahaha. Are you guys from the monkey family really this gullible? You actually believe there are prizes? Shiki. What are you laughing at, you dumbass? This viewing system brought us back to life after we were dead. Is it really so strange for it to hand out some miraculous prizes? Kaido. You old fart, always running your mouth. Just then, the voice of the viewing system rang out. Plus. Ding. The top 3 winners of this quiz with the correct answers are Monkey D. Garp, Monkey D. Luffy, and Trafalgar Law. Congratulations to the 3 of you. Rewards have been granted. Congratulations to Monkey D. Garp. Reward. 15 years of youth restored. Congratulations to Monkey D. Luffy. Reward. Awakening of the Gum Gum Devil Fruit powers. Congratulations to Trafalgar Law. Reward. 1 side effect free immortality surgery, usable on anyone, including yourself. Holy crap. When Garp's reward of reversing his age by 15 years was announced, many people couldn't stay calm anymore. Sengoku, Crane, Charlotte Linlin, Whitebeard, these elderly figures who had lived long lives all secretly yearned to regain their youth. Even being a few years younger would have been a blessing. But now, Garp had become 15 years younger, and that was enough to make them envious, jealous, and resentful. Old D. Roger. Garp is 15 years younger. Doesn't that make him 14 years younger than me now? Brox D. Gibbik. That's right. You now have a dad who's 14 years younger than you. Old D. Roger. Shut up, you damn bastard. Shiki. You two can argue somewhere else. Whitebeard, aren't you at Marine HQ? Can you confirm if Garp really became 15 years younger? This matter was crucial. If Garp truly had reversed his age by 15 years, it would mean all the rewards mentioned earlier by the viewing system were real. Shiki remembered clearly there was mention of resurrection items in the rewards. If Garp could reverse his age, wouldn't that mean there was a chance for him to be resurrected too? Edward Newgate. Even if you didn't ask, I was going to bring this up. That guy Garp definitely looks younger. At least, that's what I see. Monkey D. Luffy. Gramps. Did you really get younger? Monkey D. Garp. Haha. Yes, Luffy. Your grandpa is now strong and full of energy. Want to feel the power of my fists of love? Do. Old D. Roger. Garp, are you serious? Monkey D. Garp. Dead serious. No joke. Dracul Mihik. Indeed, Garp does appear significantly younger. This viewing system truly is incredible. Old D. Roger. Fantastic. I'm answering first. I want to be resurrected. I'll personally save my son. Shiki. Jahaha. Me too. Roger, let's both come back to life and team up to overthrow Marine HQ. Over 30 years ago, Shiki had once wanted to join forces with Roger to dominate the world, but Roger had mercilessly rejected him at the time. Now, the opportunity had arrived. If Roger could truly be resurrected, he would surely storm Marine HQ to save Ace. And all Shiki needed to do was take advantage of the chaos to wreak havoc at Marine HQ. Brox D. Gibbik. Resurrection. I'm the one who deserves to come back to life. Damn those who betrayed me back then. And those who slacked off during our fight. I won't forgive any of them. Marshall D. Teach. Resurrection. Big deal. You'll still die when your time comes. The real prize in this round of rewards is Trafalgar Law's Eternal Life Surgery. Monkey D. Luffy. Trafalgar, what's this Eternal Life Surgery? Trafalgar Law. Barano is Oro. Idiot. Just hearing the name tells you it's a surgery that grants eternal life. Crane. Normally, Eternal Life Surgery is the ultimate procedure for devil fruit users. While it grants immortality, it costs the user their life as a price. But if it's an eternal life surgery without side effects, that changes everything. Kaido. Surgery boy, sell me this chance. Name your price. Charlotte Linlin. You fool. Is this about money? It's not like anyone here doesn't have billions of berries to spare. Law, perform the eternal life surgery on me, and I'll be your mother-in-law. From now on, no one in these seas will dare bully you. Vista. With Pops around, your big mom pirates won't stand a chance of becoming the top crew. Trafalgar Law, come be Pop's son instead, it'd be much better than marrying into Big Mom's family. Jozu. Exactly. If Pops becomes immortal, our Whitebeard pirates will be invincible. Sengoku. Roseward, are you there? Try to persuade Trafalgar Law not to let the eternal life surgery fall into the hands of ruthless pirates. Unquixote Roseward. I'll give it a try. Law, if you already have someone in mind, follow your own decision. If you don't have a specific person, consider using this opportunity on Sengoku. He's like a father to me. Old D. Roger. Oh. So Sengoku has an illegitimate child. Monkey D. Carp. Sengoku, who did you have a kid with? Crane. Idiot Carp, do you not understand the phrase like a father? Trafalgar Law. Roseward. Unquixote Roseward. Law. 1. Trafalgar Law. I promise you. If I don't have anyone special in mind, I'll use this eternal life surgery opportunity on Sengoku. The most important person in Law's life was Roseward. Since Roseward had spoken, Law couldn't possibly refuse. Shiki. What? Is Sengoku getting immortality now? Wang Zhai. Sengoku, you're using emotional manipulation and moral blackmail. How despicable. Rox D. Gibbick. TCH. Shameless Sengoku. Charlotte Linlin. Damn it. Sengoku, do you even have any shame left? The Pone Beej. Who exactly is this Roseward guy? Why does Law listen to him so obediently? Eustace Kid. His name is Dunquixote Roseward. Sounds like he shares the same surname as one of the 7 warlords, Dunquixote Doflamingo. Dunquixote Doflamingo. Fufu, that's correct, boy. He's my younger brother. Kaido. Shut your mouth, clown. Nobody wants to hear you blabber about family ties here. Surgery boy. Tell me how I can get this eternal life surgery. Name your terms. Sengoku. Kaido, stop dreaming. Law is a good kid, just misled by the path of piracy. I've decided once he's willing to join the Marines, I'll personally groom him to become the backbone of the Navy. Shiki. Jahaja. Look at you Panicking when it comes to shamelessness, you take the crown, Sengoku. Old D. Roger. PFFT. What a hypocrite. Sengoku. HMPH. No matter how much mud you throw at me, it won't work. Law has justice in his heart. Law, after the war ends, find a safe place to hide. I'll personally come and pick you up. Trafalgar Law. Sengoku, though I promised Roseward, I actually have someone more suitable in mind before considering you. As soon as those words were spoken, the entire chat erupted in laughter. Shiki. Jahahaja. Is Sengoku crying yet? Old D. Roger. Haha. Probably stunned for now, but he'll cry later. Edward Newgate. Guerrera. Great job, Law. Charlotte Linlin. That person must be me. I'm going to be your mother-in-law after all. Kaido. You're dreaming. Sengoku. It's alright, Law. Follow your heart and do what feels right. Though Sengoku's words sounded noble, his heart was bleeding inside. Damn it. Where did this guy come from, and why does he hold such importance to Law that he outweighs even Roseward's words? Damn it. Stay calm for now, I'll figure things out later. Trafalgar Law. Alright, let me make this clear. Whoever kills Dunquixote Doflamingo gets the chance for my eternal life surgery. Holy crap. At Marine HQ, Dunquixote Doflamingo instantly exploded in rage. When Trafalgar Law had received this reward earlier, Dunquixote Doflamingo had been filled with a surge of excitement. After all, the Ope no Mi the surgery fruit had originally been his lead to obtain. At first, he had planned for his younger brother, Dunquixote Rosinante, to eat it. But due to an unfortunate twist of fate, Trafalgar Law ended up consuming it instead. Since then, Doflamingo had gone to great lengths to try and bring Trafalgar Law back into the Dunquixote family. His intentions were crystal clear, he wanted immortality. But because he had personally killed Rosinante, not only did Trafalgar Law refuse to return to the Dunquixote family, but he also vowed to kill Doflamingo at any cost as revenge for Rosinante's death. So after realizing this, Doflamingo's initial excitement quickly turned into unease. As he read through the chat room discussions, a sense of foreboding began to weigh heavily on him. He knew exactly how much Trafalgar Law hated him. To put it simply, Trafalgar Law would do anything if it meant killing him. The moment Doflamingo realized that Law held the ultimate trump card, his unease skyrocketed into sheer panic. And now. When Trafalgar Law announced this condition, Doflamingo completely lost his composure. He was utterly furious. Doflamingo was ready to curse everyone in sight. Damn this viewing system for picking such a terrible timing. Why now? Why during the Marineford War? There were easily over 10 powerful individuals present who could kill him. Although he was technically on the Marine side in this war, Doflamingo wasn't foolish enough to believe they'd actually protect him. This was immortality we're talking about. Who wouldn't be tempted by that? Kill Doflamingo, and you get the chance for eternal life surgery. If there was even the slightest opportunity, no one would refuse. He glanced around at where he was standing, and his face darkened further. On either side of him stood Moonlight Moria and Dracula Mihik. Beyond them were Bartholomew Kuma and Empress Bo Hancock. Forget about anyone else, just these 4 alone were more than capable of ending him. Behind him on the high platform sat the 3 admirals of the Marines. Doflamingo estimated that the moment the viewing system lifted its restrictions, magma, ice, and light beams would come roaring straight at him. Not to mention, the battlefield ahead was teeming with the Whitebeard pirates, watching like vultures. Damn it. This was a death trap. Brox D. Gibbik. Just kill someone. That's too easy. Kid, wait until I'm resurrected, I'll take care of it for you. Gold D. Roger. Idiot, what are you thinking? Do you think something this good will fall into your hands? Sakazuki. Doflamingo is currently at Marine HQ. This isn't something you pirates need to concern yourselves with. Unquixit Doflamingo. Hey. Admiral Sakazuki, what do you mean by that? You invited me here to fight against pirates, and now you're planning to stab me in the back. Fleet Admiral Sengoku, aren't you going to step in? Sengoku. Sakazuki, shut up. We Marines won't betray our allies like this. Doflamingo, listen carefully. Once the viewing system's restrictions are lifted, run straight toward me. I'll make sure no one harms you. Shiki. Jahahaja. Sengoku, do you really think Doflamingo is stupid enough to run toward you? Would he just hand over his head to you willingly? Moonlight Moria. Exactly. If you go to Sengoku, he'll definitely kill you. But I'm different, we're both warlords of the sea. Grab onto me the moment you get the chance, and I guarantee I'll safely escort you out of Marineford. Moria had brought Absalom with him to the Marineford War. Absalom, one of his subordinates, was a devil fruit user with invisibility powers. Ever since arriving at Marine HQ, Absalom had been in stealth mode, ready to protect Moria at a moment's notice. If Moria were ever in danger, Absalom would immediately render him invisible and whisk him away to safety. And now, this contingency plan could undoubtedly save Doflamingo as well. Of course. Was Moria genuinely planning to save Doflamingo? Absolutely not. Moria knew that if he attacked Doflamingo directly, there was no way he'd be the one to claim his head. But if he managed to rescue Doflamingo, things would change. Once he gained Doflamingo's trust, he'd have the perfect opportunity to take his head later. Doflamingo glanced sideways at Moonlight Moria. I trust you as far as I can throw you. Unquixit Doflamingo. Hawkeye, surely someone like you wouldn't stoop to something so trivial, right? Dracula Mihik. Trivial. This is a chance at immortality. I have no reason not to act. Damn. Doflamingo's face turned pitch black. This man was absolutely capable of killing him. What made matters worse was that they were standing right next to each other. Oh Hancock. Listen well, young Law. This Empress will also make her move. When the live broadcast from Shabandi Archipelago airs, watch closely, you might see my attack deliver the final blow to Doflamingo. Borsellino. WOO, don't underestimate the speed of light. This old man wants to join in on the fun too. Doflamingo's heart sank like a stone. Damn it, it's all over. This was hopeless. Muriajwa. In the Pangar Castle, there was a spacious room known as the Room of Power. The 5 Elder Stars, representing the highest authority in the world, now wore deeply troubled expressions. After the descent of the viewing system, they had tried every method possible, but were still unable to escape from this state of confinement. The more power one possessed, the less they liked situations that slipped out of their control. The situation is getting dire, the immortality surgery has been brought into the open. Shepherd Tenbito, the golden-haired Elder Star, stared at the large screen in front of him, his expression grim. This massive screen in the Room of Power was connected to the live broadcast signal from Marine headquarters. From here, they could directly observe the situation at Marine HQ. Zambalung V. Nasagerm, his gaze heavy with thought, looked toward the other 4. The opportunity for the immortality surgery must not fall into anyone else's hands. We must intervene forcefully. Forceful intervention. How? Wakasu Mazu, the white-haired Elder Star with a long braid, moved his jaw slightly and shook his head. For something like this, no one can resist the temptation. Haven't you noticed? Even the Navy wants this chance. So what? This is the chance for immortality. Are we just going to sit back and watch it land in someone else's hands? Zambalung v Nasigerm stood up, his voice low and resolute. Before the two could delve further into the discussion, Topman Wachuri, the round-headed elder star, interrupted their argument. Let's put the immortality surgery aside for now. The most pressing matter right now should be the awakening of that fruit, shouldn't it? At these words, the faces of the other four elder stars changed dramatically. Indeed. None of them had expected that the devil fruit, which hadn't awakened in 800 years, would awaken again. And even more shocking was that its method of awakening surpassed all their expectations. All because that brat answered a question casually, and just like that, the zone-type mythical beast-class devil fruit Nika form awakened. Damn it. Wasn't that too casual? Shepherd Tenbito pondered for a moment. Im-sama must have seen the situation as well. Once the restrictions on this viewing system are lifted, Im-sama will likely give us instructions. There's no other choice. The other 5 elder stars also wore grave expressions. At this moment, the red framed screen in the sky gradually dimmed. And in its place, a white framed screen lit up. Time passed day by day. Luffy followed Ace everywhere, trekking through mountains and rivers, adventuring far and wide. Though he often came back battered and bruised, he was happy. In the town of Fushia village, the red-haired pirates had been stationed there for over a year. Luffy often came to the town to help date and buy things. Over time, he became familiar with the red-haired pirates. Charlotte Linlin. This kid, he's Garp's grandson, Dragon's son, and yet he's so close with Shanks. Interesting. Edward Newgate. Now that you mention it, I didn't realize before. His father is the leader of the Revolutionary Army, his grandfather is the hero of the Marines, and yet he's so chummy with one of the youngest Yonko. This kid sure has a lot of connections. Shiki. No wonder they're showing his footage specifically. It was worth noting that Shiki had fallen to his death after being defeated by Luffy. He had been quite resentful about it, but now, seeing this, it wasn't so hard to accept. Damn it, I died at the hands of the Chosen One. Monkey D. Garp. Damn you, Shanks. What's a big shot pirate like you doing hanging around some backwater place like Fushia village? If it weren't for you, my eldest grandson might have become a marine by now. Tsuru. Even though Shanks wasn't a Yonko back then, he was already a notorious pirate in the New World. There was no reason for him to stay in a remote place like that for over a year. Watching the scenes on the screen, Vice Admiral Tsuru's eyes narrowed slightly as she began to think deeply. Shanks. Having fun. Isn't being a pirate all about freedom? If you find a place you like, you stay there longer. What's the problem? Why did he go to Fushia village in the first place? Rather than saying Shanks went there intentionally, it was more like he was mysteriously guided there by the rubber fruit. It was an indescribable feeling. On his journey to the East Blue, many things seemed normal at the time, but looking back now, they felt strange. For example, the wooden box containing the devil fruit was swept into the sea by a storm, and everyone chased after it for hundreds of nautical miles. Or how they got lost inexplicably and ended up somewhere completely different from their intended destination. Through a series of coincidences, they arrived at Fushia village. And then, for some reason, they stayed there for a whole year, only for the rubber fruit to be eaten by Luffy out of nowhere. If you thought about it carefully, Shanks couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't mere coincidence. It was as if the rubber fruit had actively chosen Luffy. That day, in the bar of Fushia village, Luffy was mooching food and drinks from the red-haired pirates. He noticed a wooden box next to Lucky Roo and, curious, opened it to find a mysterious fruit covered in strange patterns. This looks pretty tasty. Without giving it much thought, Luffy grabbed it and started eating. Jorkle Mihik. Wasn't that a devil fruit? And he's eating it like it's some kind of delicacy. Moonlight Moria. Haha. To eat a devil fruit so ferociously. This kid's got something special. Trafalgar Law. As expected of Straw Hat. It's the first time I've seen someone eat a devil fruit without even flinching. Capone Beach. Come to think of it, when I ate the castle fruit, it felt like I was eating, well, you know what. Scratchman a poo. Ba. Totally agree. Barano Zoro, so this is how Luffy got his devil fruit. Like a robin. It's quite absurd, isn't it? Muriajwa. Room of Power. Red-haired Shanks. Zambalung v Nasigerm's brows furrowed deeply into a scowl, his voice filled with anger. Wakasu Mazu narrowed his eyes, his expression grave. Damn it. Was that devil fruit originally taken by red-haired Shanks? Was it just a coincidence that the brat ate it, or was it intentional? Whether it was coincidental or deliberate, the brat's devil fruit ability has already awakened. Im-sama will definitely not allow him to continue growing unchecked. Digoroxia Satan reminded them. At this moment, the large screen stopped showing the subsequent scenes from the bar and instead switched to footage of Luffy's daily training routine. Seeing this, somewhere near Marine headquarters, on a nearby sea, Shanks let out a quiet sigh of relief. Thank goodness they didn't show the scene where the mountain bandit king smashed a bottle over my head. That would have been embarrassing. And if they had shown the part where the Sea King bit off my arm, Hawkeye would have never let me live it down. This viewing system is still giving me some face. Shanks thought to himself. Afterward, the red-haired pirates left Fuchsia Village. Luffy also set his goal. To set sail on his own and become the Pirate King. Day after day, Luffy trained relentlessly, often challenging Ace but losing every time, beaten to a pulp. 7 years later, Ace set sail. 10 years later, Luffy set sail. At this point, the white-framed screen gradually dimmed. Basil Hawkins. Looking at this, Straw Hat wasn't particularly strong when he first set sail. How did he grow to become one of the supernovas in just a few short months? Biraj. His training before setting sail was honestly pretty mediocre. Capone Beach. This Luffy wasted so much time, yet he still became a supernova. Meanwhile, the other Luffy already mastered armament Haki at the age of 7. Just how terrifying will his future strength be? Trafalgar Law. No need to rush. Based on the pattern of these screens, the next video should focus on the growth of red-hatted Luffy. Bull D. Roger. Why aren't they showing it yet? I'm really looking forward to seeing how that Luffy performs. Shanks. Ahaha, Captain, our Luffy isn't bad either. At this moment, the red-framed screen gradually brightened again. Soon, the images appeared. Time passed day by day, and Luffy's daily routine was extremely consistent. In the morning, he went into the mountains. In the evening, he returned. His training methods were simple and brutal. For armament Haki, he punched mountains directly with his fists. For observation Haki, he deliberately provoked groups of wild beasts, placing himself in the middle of their attacks while using observation Haki to constantly evade their strikes. One day, he returned earlier than usual. Little Luffy, didn't you train enough today? The bandit Dayton glanced at the clock on the wall and asked curiously. Luffy looked at Dayton, wanting to say something but hesitating. Recently, he had hit a bottleneck in his armament Haki training and couldn't progress further. But there was no one around who understood Haki cultivation, which troubled him greatly. Dayton walked over. Little Luffy, what's wrong? Even if you're facing something unsolvable, you should at least talk about it. Maybe I can help. Luffy sighed. Dayton, do you know anything about armament Haki? Dayton's lips twitched. Do I look like I know? Never mind, I'll figure it out myself. Seeing Dayton's reaction, Luffy already knew the answer. He stood up, preparing to head into his room. Wait. Dayton called out, as if suddenly remembering something. There's a group of pirates in town. I heard they're from the New World. If you want to learn about Haki cultivation, maybe you can ask them. Pirates? Upon hearing this, Luffy didn't get excited but instead frowned. Why are pirates in town? When my grandpa came last time, why didn't you mention this? If my grandpa were here, with just a little effort, any pirates would be wiped out. Luffy had grown up under Garp's care, and sometimes when Garp was in a hurry during missions, he'd bring Luffy along on warships. This allowed Luffy to witness many notorious pirates. It was precisely because he had seen the cruel side of the world from a young age that Luffy had come to understand the principle of survival of the fittest early on. He trained hard not because of some lofty ideal, but because he didn't want to end up as someone else's victim. Although he wasn't interested in becoming a marine, he didn't have a good impression of pirates either. He looked seriously at Dayton and warned her. Dayton, since there are pirates in town, try not to go there. Pirates are ruthless killers who won't hesitate to take lives. Trafalgar Law. PFFT. Straw Hat Captain, are you sure it's appropriate for you to say that? Monkey D. Luffy. Toraman, look carefully. That's the other red Luffy talking, not me. Frankie. Wahaha. This red Luffy seems to have a really bad impression of pirates. Could he have become a marine? Nami. Judging by his tone, it's very possible. Monkey D. Garp. Can this viewing system swap characters between the two sides? I'm willing to trade one grandson for the other. Monkey D. Luffy. Grandpa. Aiden, touched by Luffy's words, felt a warm glow in her heart. She thought to herself, Luffy may seem unapproachable at first glance, but he's actually kind-hearted. What a good kid. Luffy, your bad impression of pirates is because all the pirates your grandpa chases are vicious criminals. So naturally, the only ones you've seen are the worst of the lot. Pirates aren't all bad. I've heard that the pirates stationed in this town aren't bad people. They've been here for over a year and haven't caused any trouble. In fact, they've even helped many folks. Luffy, if you're just asking them about Haki training methods, I think they'll tell you if they know. Monkey D. Garp. Dayton. What nonsense are you spouting? Dayton. What do you mean, me? That wasn't me talking. Another version of Dayton did it. What does that have to do with me? Monkey D. Garp. Ah, sorry. I got it wrong. This damn movie watching system is so infuriating. Eustace Kid. Did I hear that right? A Yonko pirate crew helping villagers in a small town. Shanks. Kid, do you have a problem with that? Eustace Kid. Don't think just because you're a Yonko that I'll be scared of you. In the future, I'll become a Yonko too. Charlotte Linlin. Mwahaha. The younger generation sure knows how to crack jokes. You've put me in such a good mood. Ido. These brats haven't faced the harsh realities of the new world yet. Beat them down a few times, and all their lofty dreams will vanish. Edward Newgate. Guerrera. It's good for young people to have ambitions, but in this world, strength speaks louder than words. Marshall D. Teach. Old man, don't mock someone's dreams. A person's dreams never end. Edward Newgate. Teach. How dare you talk about dreams after betraying and killing your own comrades? Marco. Teach, you bastard. Borges D. Ace. Teach, I'll definitely catch you and cleanse the Whitebeard pirates of your treachery. Marshall D. Teach. Kahahaha. Ace, brother, you can barely save yourself, so stop talking big. Save your strength the moment this movie ends, you'll be executed. Edward Newgate. HMPH. Teach, give up on that idea. As long as I'm alive, Ace won't die. Marshall D. Teach. Kahahaha. Back in Windmill Village. Following the address given by Dayton, Luffy arrived at Makino's bar. Oh? What's this little brat doing here? You're way too young to be drinking. Luckyru was the first to spot Luffy and burst into laughter. The other pirates turned their attention toward Luffy. Shanks glanced at Luffy and, for some reason, found himself liking the kid. Kid, this isn't a place for someone your age. Go home. With that, Shanks tossed a chicken leg toward Luffy. Here, eat this on your way back. It seemed Dayton was right, these pirates weren't bad people at all. 1. Luffy's first impression of Shanks and his crew was quite positive. Hey, uncles, I want to train my Haki, but I don't know where to start. Can anyone teach me? Though Luffy had relaxed his guard around these pirates, he wasn't foolish enough to reveal that he already possessed 2 types of Haki to strangers. Previously, when he displayed his Haki in front of Dayton, it was because his grandfather trusted Dayton enough to leave him in her care, so she must be trustworthy. Haki training. At Luffy's question, the bar fell silent for a brief moment before erupting into uproarious laughter. Hahaha. Kid, you're still wet behind the ears and already talking about training Haki. Don't bite off more than you can chew, huh? For someone your age, especially in a remote mountain village like this, even knowing about Haki shows you've got some knowledge. Kid. Haki isn't something you can learn just by wanting to practice it, alright. Go home and drink your milk, hahaha. The pirates laughed until they were doubled over, unable to stop. Amidst their mockery, Luffy remained calm, not a trace of anger on his face. He understood it was just how the world worked. When the strong mock the weak, it was almost an act of mercy. After all, they could easily kill you, but instead chose to laugh. That was kindness in its own way. Only by quickly reaching the pinnacle of the world could he earn the right to shut others up. Seeing Luffy's unruffled demeanor, Shanks felt a flicker of surprise in his heart. This kitty really is different from ordinary children. Kid, you really want to train in Haki? Shanks looked at Luffy and asked. Yes, Luffy nodded firmly. Alright. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll teach you. But I'll only say it once. How much you remember depends on your ability. Thank you, uncle. This round of drinks is on me. Before leaving for Windmill Village, Garp had left Luffy some pocket money. Without hesitation, Luffy pulled it out now. Yo. Not a bad kid, huh? Captain, we can't take advantage of free drinks without giving something back. You'd better teach him properly. Even though he probably won't learn anything, Captain Shanks, you can't slack off after accepting his treat. Amidst the teasing of the pirates, Shanks began teaching Luffy the basics of Haki training. Haki basics. Luffy had long surpassed this level, but he listened attentively, determined not to miss a single word. Alright, kid, that's all there is to the basics of Haki. With that, Shanks picked up his drink and took a satisfying sip. Luffy mulled over what he just heard. He'd learned the basics of Haki from Garp before, and while Shanks' explanation differed slightly, they ultimately led to the same conclusion. It was incredibly enlightening. What comes after mastering the basics? Luffy asked next. Shanks paused mid-sip, tilting his head slightly and casting a surprised glance at Luffy. Kid, don't try to swallow more than you can chew, alright? No worries, Uncle said earlier that you'd only teach once, and how much I learn depends on my ability. Since I've already treated everyone to drinks, I might as well hear as much as I can from you. Ahaha. Alright then. I'll keep going. With that, Shanks continued verbally instructing Luffy on Haki training. 2 hours later. Alright, that's all there is to advanced training for armament Haki and observation Haki. Beyond that, it depends entirely on individual talent. It has nothing to do with experience anymore. After listening to Shanks' teachings, Luffy was deeply shocked. The bottleneck he'd encountered was fully addressed within Shanks' explanations. Luffy could confirm that Shanks had genuinely taught him the proper methods for Haki training. Thank you so much for your guidance, Uncle. Luffy grabbed a bottle of alcohol, ready to toast Shanks. But Shanks snatched the bottle away and handed Luffy a bottle of soda instead. He clinked his glass against Luffy's soda bottle, then downed his drink in one gulp. Luffy looked at the soda in his hand, momentarily stunned. Uncle's a good guy. Raising the soda bottle high, he drank it down in one hearty gulp. Monkey D. Garp. You idiotic Luffy. Look at what red-haired Luffy learned from Shanks, and what did you learn from him? Nothing. Monkey D. Luffy. Grandpa, I didn't even know Haki existed back then. Shanks. It's my fault, it's my fault. Why didn't I think to teach Luffy about Haki training when I had the chance? In truth, Shanks had been keeping an eye on Luffy ever since he set sail. And in just a few short months, Luffy had already grown from a rookie into a super rookie with a bounty of 300 million beery. It was clear that Luffy possessed extraordinary talent. If only I had taught him Haki like the Shanks in the red frame, who knows what kind of monster Luffy would have become by now. Kid, aren't you confused after hearing so much all at once? You should have just stuck to learning the basics of Haki. Training. Asap took a swig of his drink and burst into laughter. Nope, not confused. It's rare to meet someone as nice as you who's willing to teach me, so the more I can learn, the better. Oh? Kid, how about you cover the cost of drinks for everyone here and I'll convince the boss to teach you about Hashoku Haki too. Asap winked at Luffy, teasing him. Upon hearing about Hashoku Haki for the first time, Luffy's eyes lit up with excitement. There's also Hashoku Haki. Why didn't Grandpa mention this to me? Yeah, wanna learn? Just pay for our drinks. Lucky-Roo also flashed a mischievous grin. I learn. Luffy slapped his money pouch onto the counter. This is all the money I have. If it's not enough, I'll pay the rest later. Shanks rolled his eyes at Yasopp and Lucky-Roo. You two, stop messing with Luffy. Then, pointing at them, Shanks said to Luffy, see these two? Remember their faces bad guys. But uncle, I really want to learn how to train Hashoku Haki. Luffy insisted stubbornly. Before Shanks could respond, Ben Beckman patted Luffy on the shoulder. Kid, they're just messing with you. To train Hashoku Haki, you need to actually possess it first. Hashoku Haki represents the qualities of a king. It's an incredibly rare ability that appears in only 1 out of millions. Shanks chuckled. That's right, those two were just trying to trick you out of your money. So you need to have it before you can train it. Hearing this, Luffy's heart sank. I guess I don't have it. No wonder Grandpa never taught me about Hashoku Haki. This must be why. Kid, take your money back and use it to buy yourself something to eat. Shanks pushed Luffy's pouch back toward him. No. At that moment, Luffy stubbornly placed his hand over the pouch. He looked up at Shanks with unwavering determination. Uncle, please teach me how to train Hashoku Haki. Even if I don't have it now, that doesn't mean I won't have it in the future. Ha 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 ha. The entire bar erupted in laughter. These veteran pirates had seen countless brats like this before, overconfident and full of themselves, only to be brutally crushed by reality in the end. This Luffy kid in front of them was just another one of those overly confident youths. Naive and ignorant. Hido. Ha ha ha. Is this brat overestimating himself or what? Does he really think Hashoku Haki grows on trees? Charlotte Linlin. There are always fools like this who think they're destined for greatness. Edward Newgate. What are you two laughing about? This kid is Garp's grandson and Dragon's son. If he awakens Hashoku Haki someday, would that really be surprising? Old D. Roger. Not surprising at all, not surprising. Brox D. Zebek. You two are quite the pair, huh? Old D. Roger. Shut up. Hido. Heh, does being the descendant of a strong person automatically make you strong? Hey, Luffy kid over there, have you awakened Hashoku Haki yet? Monkey D. Luffy. What's Hashoku Haki? Everyone. Ding. Entering the quiz round with prizes. At this moment, a question appeared on the big screen. Question. How did red-haired Luffy eat the gum fruit? A. He didn't eat it. B. Like White Luffy, he accidentally saw the gum fruit in a wooden box next to Lucky-Roo, mistook it for regular fruit, picked it up, and ate it. C. The gum fruit rolled to Luffy on its own, and Shanks, seizing the opportunity, gave it to Luffy to eat. D. Shanks didn't teach him Hashoku Haki training methods, so Luffy stole the gum fruit out of spite and ate it. B. Bar owner Makino accidentally turned the gum gum fruit into a fruit salad, which Luffy then ate. Please think carefully and answer cautiously. Punishment Mechanism 1. If you buzz in within 5 seconds, Punishment Mechanism 1 will activate. Incorrect answers will result in living participants losing 1 year of their lifespan. Dead participants will lose 5 chances to participate in future quizzes. Punishment Mechanism 2. If you buzz in after 5 seconds, Punishment Mechanism 2 will activate. 2 consecutive incorrect answers will result in mandatory disqualification from participating in the next 2 quiz rounds. Sengoku. I choose Nani. Just as he was about to buzz in, Sengoku suddenly noticed the warning on the screen. He immediately swallowed his words. Answering incorrectly within 5 seconds would deduct 1 year of lifespan. This penalty mechanism was terrifying for people like them who were already advanced in age. No one knew how many years they had left. If someone only had 1 year of life remaining, answering incorrectly would mean instant death. Sengoku was still hoping that Trafalgar Law would perform the immortality surgery on him. If he died prematurely due to a wrong answer, there wouldn't even be a place to cry about it. Kuzan. So there's a penalty mechanism now, huh? Borsellino. Looks like we can't answer carelessly anymore. Brox D. Gibbik. What's there to fear? This penalty mechanism is only a threat to the living. We dead folks don't need to worry. Shiki, Roger, it's an opportunity, let's buzz in quickly. Goldie Roger. You idiot, I read the question carefully. Shiki. Jahahaha. You crafty old bastard. Trying to trick me and Roger, but we won't fall for it. Although the dead wouldn't lose lifespan, answering incorrectly within 5 seconds would result in losing the chance to participate in the next 5 rounds. Considering that the rewards were confirmed to exist, being unable to participate in 5 consecutive rounds would feel worse than death. Monkey D. Luffy. Deducting just 1 year of lifespan for a wrong answer. That's such a bargain. Monkey D. Garp. Sengoku. Suru. Urano is Oro. Luffy, act normal for once, will you? Nami. Sorry everyone, our captain accidentally got released. I'll take him away now. As everyone exchanged their thoughts, the 5-second grace period for penalties quickly passed. This time, everyone was clearly cautious. No one chose to answer within 5 seconds. Brox D. Gibbik. This kid is different from White Luffy, he's obviously a raw talent without devil fruit powers. Sengoku. Based on the situation, Luffy won't even have a chance to come into contact with the gum gum fruit. Edward Newgate. First, eliminate C and D, they're too absurd. In my opinion, B and E are the most likely options, so I'll go with E. Eustace Kid. D. Option B fits Straw Hat style perfectly. Trafalgar Law. The more outrageous the scenario, the more fitting it is for the Straw Hat captain. Shiki. It has to be A. Charlotte Linlin. Charlotte Linlin. Damn it, Shiki. You stole my top 3 spots. Shiki. Jahahaha. Linlin, you're too slow. Sakazuki. Unquixit da Flamingo. It seems all the correct answers have been taken. No point wasting my chances then. Soon, some people in the chat room made their choices, while others opted not to answer. After all, answering incorrectly twice in a row would forcibly interrupt their participation in the next 2 rounds. That would be unbearable. Since they felt that the correct answers had already been taken, there was no reason to waste their opportunities. Time remaining. 10. 9. 8. As the countdown timer on the big screen continued ticking down, Shanks furrowed his brows. Option C seemed utterly ridiculous to others. But to Shanks, the more he looked at it, the more he felt it might be the right answer. Back then, he had coincidentally brought the gum gum fruit to Windmill Village, and it ended up being eaten by Luffy under strange circumstances. He felt that it was the gum gum fruit choosing Luffy. Now, the other Luffy hadn't experienced what White Luffy went through, but if Luffy was truly destined, then the gum gum fruit would surely choose him again. As the countdown ended, the frozen image on the big screen resumed playing. Shanks refused to teach Luffy the method to train Conqueror's Haki. In his view, the dual-color Haki training method he taught Luffy earlier was already a challenge that Luffy would never fully master in his lifetime. Teaching him the method to train Conqueror's Haki would only confuse this ignorant youth further. Moreover, the probability of someone awakening Conqueror's Haki was 1 in several million. This young man in front of him didn't seem like someone destined for greatness. Thank you, mister. Luffy didn't press further and sincerely thanked Shanks once again. Even though Shanks hadn't told him the method to train Conqueror's Haki, he had already shared a lot. Luffy was grateful. However, just as Luffy was saying goodbye to Shanks and preparing to leave, a wooden box on the table beside Lucky Roo suddenly tipped over. Hurling sounds. A mysterious purple devil fruit with intricate patterns rolled conveniently to Luffy's feet. Rocks D. Gibbik. What the hell? No way. The devil fruit actually rolled to his feet. Is this really happening? Gold D. Roger. Could the answer be C? Edward Newgate. I also guessed wrong. Seems like I can't answer carelessly next time. Suru. Someone selected C right before the countdown ended, but I didn't notice who it was. Shiki. It was Shanks who chose it. Hey, Shanks, why do you know the correct answer when it's clearly something the other Shanks did? Shanks. If I knew the correct answer, would I have needed to think so long before making my choice? I simply trusted my instincts. Sengoku. Quiet. There's no guarantee this brat will eat it yet, so stop panicking. From the current situation, the most likely answers were A and C, but until the official answer was revealed, no one could confirm which was correct. Huh? Seeing the devil fruit resting at Luffy's feet, the officers of the red-haired pirates were all stunned. Everyone turned their gaze toward Lucky Roo, since the devil fruit had been in his possession. Sorry, someone must have accidentally knocked over the box. Lucky Roo awkwardly approached Luffy, bent down, and picked up the devil fruit. Brox D. Gibbik. Good job picking it up. Shiki. Jahahaha. Captain, our chance for revival has arrived. Brox D. Gibbik. Shut up. If I revive, you're the first one I'm killing. Shiki. Jahahaha. Try touching me first, you bastard. Suru. Sengoku, looks like you're getting your reward. Sengoku. Yeah, but hopefully Rox and Shiki don't get revived as part of theirs. Brox D. Gibbik. Shut your damn mouth. Shiki. Shut your cocky mouth. Shanks gazed thoughtfully at the devil fruit Lucky Roo had picked up. Farewell, mister. Luffy said goodbye once more, then stepped toward the door. Meanwhile, Lucky Roo placed the gum fruit back into the wooden box, but perhaps because he'd had too much to drink, he accidentally bumped it against the edge of the table. Thump thump thump. After rolling around, Luffy stared blankly at the purple fruit at his feet. The audience watching the scene was equally dumbfounded. This fruit is way too eager, isn't it? Borsellino. Hey, what's with that devil fruit? It just decided he's the one. Shiki. There are so many people in the room, what's wrong with everyone else? Trafalgar Law. The way Red Hat Boss got the gum fruit is even more ridiculous than how our Straw Hat Boss did. Scary Matchum Papu. Do devil fruits really have subjective thinking abilities? The Pone Beej. Probably not. Sengoku. Damn it. Although the situations with the two gum fruits were different, they both ended up in Luffy's hands. Could there really be some kind of destiny at play here? Monkey D. Garp. Sengoku, what nonsense are you spouting? My grandson doesn't have any destiny. Oh, Hancock. That's right, Luffy-kun has no destiny. If he did, then his destiny would be me. Bracule Mihik. Unquixit da Flamingo. Fufufu how Interestting. Kuzan. Monkey D. Garp. Empress Hancock, something's wrong with you. Oh, Hancock. Luffy's grandfather, there's nothing wrong with me. Luffy-kun is the man destined for me. The moment Hancock said this, the chat room erupted with gasps. Holy crap. The most beautiful woman in the world. This queen who never even glanced at other men. She's obsessed with Monkey D. Luffy. What kind of magic does this guy have? Even the icy Empress Hancock has melted for him. Gold D. Roger. Congratulations, Garp. Edward Newgate. Congratulations, Garp. Shiki. Congratulations, Garp. Borsellino. Congratulations, Garp. Monkey D. Garp. All of you shut up. Empress Hancock, listen well, don't even think about robbing the cradle. 1. Oh, Hancock. Grandpa, talking like that makes me sad. Luffy-kun, he's entered my body before. Holy crap. Holy crappity crap. The chat room exploded with reactions. This gossip was juicier than watching the movie itself. For a moment, everyone forgot about whether Luffy on the screen would eat the gum fruit. Instead, they were all buzzing about the forbidden romance between Hancock and Luffy. Eustace Kid. Straw Hat, you look like someone who doesn't chase women, but turns out you're quite the stealthy player, huh? Trafalgar Law. Boss Straw Hat, impressive. Marshall D. Teach. Haha. Straw Hat Luffy, I knew from the first time I met you that you weren't ordinary. Portgas D. Ace. Luffy, you've grown up. Nami. You idiot Luffy, how could you hide this from all of us? Vince McSanji. Luffy, you bastard. Ah. Why isn't it me? The tone of the chat room completely shifted. Garp felt like he was about to have a heart attack. He shouted into the chat room. Luffy. You brat, did you really enter Empress Hancock's body? Not far from Marine headquarters, aboard a warship. Everyone around stared at Luffy with eyes filled with envy. Luffy picked his nose and thought for a moment. Indeed, when he went to impel down, didn't he sneak in by entering Hancock's body? Monkey D. Luffy. Oh, yeah, I did. Oh. All the pirates who had escaped from the underwater prison gawked at Luffy in disbelief. Their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Holy crap. This guy he actually penetrated the most beautiful woman in the world. Even powerful figures like Crocodile and Jin couldn't help but look at Luffy with newfound respect. This guy is truly unexpected. The chat room exploded again. Vince McSanji. I can't live anymore. Nami. Luffy, you bastard. Nico Robin. Barano is Oro. Luffy, impressive. Usopp. I'm so jealous of LUFFY. Shanks. Ahaha. Luffy, I didn't know you had it in YOU. X Drake. This guy, did he save an entire planet in his past life or something? How lucky can one person get? Capone Beach. You don't understand. Straw Hat Luffy is a gum fruit user. It's clearly Empress Hancock who got the better deal. Borsellino. So is the power of the gum fruit a reason Empress Hancock is obsessed with Luffy? Kuzan. Why do you feel the need to comment on everything? Monkey D. Garp. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy. Ha, Gramps. Monkey D. Garp. You useless brat. Next time I see you, I'll smash your head in. Ha. On the warship, Luffy tilted his head, utterly confused. What did I do wrong? The gum fruit rolled to Luffy's feet for the second time, leaving everyone in the bar utterly baffled. This gum fruit sure seems fond of this kid, Luckyaru chuckled awkwardly as he walked over to pick it up again. However, Shanks called out to stop him. Wait a moment. Luckyaru froze in place. Huh? Boss, what's wrong? Shanks stood up from his seat and walked over to Luffy. He picked up the gum fruit from the ground, staring at it intently for a while, as if making a decision. Luffy, have you ever heard of devil fruits? I've heard of them, but I've never seen one. Luffy had already encountered devil fruit users on the warship and knew they granted incredible powers to those who ate them. But he'd never actually seen a devil fruit before, assuming they looked like ordinary fruits. Well, now you've seen one. This is a devil fruit, his own type, the gum fruit. This is a devil fruit. Yes. Once you eat it, you'll become a rubber man. But at the same time, you'll be cursed by the sea and become a permanent landlubber. The landlubber? I've heard of that. Luffy nodded, then tilted his head in confusion. But why are you telling me all this, mister? Shanks said, Luffy, do you believe in fate? This devil fruit has rolled to your feet twice. I don't think it's a coincidence. If you're willing, I'd like to give this devil fruit to you. Despite Shanks' generosity, Luffy quickly refused, insisting it was too valuable. Luffy might not know exactly how much this devil fruit could sell for, but he knew it was worth an astronomical sum. Seeing Luffy's sincerity, Shanks burst into hearty laughter. We pirates live by doing whatever we want. The value of this devil fruit doesn't matter, it's choosing you. Don't worry about money. What matters is whether you want it. If you choose it, you can pay me back later if you want. It chose me. Luffy stared at the gum fruit, lost in thought. He recalled how the gum fruit had rolled to his feet twice. It really seemed to be choosing him. But just because it chose me, does that mean I have to choose it? Still, if I miss this chance, someone else will probably eat it. Once it's gone forever. Should I cherish this mysterious connection or ignore it? Luffy's mind spiraled into a whirlpool of conflicting thoughts. Shanks remained silent, signaling with his eyes for the red-haired pirate's crew to stay quiet as well. He didn't want to interfere with Luffy's decision. In his view, if this truly was a special destiny, then it should be entirely up to Luffy to decide. Luffy pondered for a long time. When he finally raised his head again, there was no trace of hesitation left on his youthful face. I'll take it, Luffy declared firmly. In the end, he decided to follow his heart. Mr. Shanks, I'll definitely pay you back for this devil fruit once I earn some money. No problem, it's yours now. Watching Luffy accept the gum fruit, Shanks didn't feel particularly moved inside. If Luffy had refused, he wouldn't have tried to persuade him either. He left everything to fate. Luffy accepted the devil fruit, bid farewell to Shanks once more, and prepared to leave. But before he could even take half a step, Shanks called out to him again. Mr. Shanks. Luffy, do you still want to learn the training method for Conqueror's Haki? Yes. Luffy's eyes sparkled with excitement. By the time Luffy exited the bar, evening had fallen. When he returned home, he immediately grabbed paper and pen, carefully writing down the training methods Shanks had taught him earlier. Though not perfectly detailed, it was close enough. As for the gum fruit, he didn't eat it right away. He was still hesitating. Becoming a devil fruit user also meant becoming a landlubber. This was something that required serious consideration. Days passed. Finally, one morning about a month after obtaining the gum gum fruit, Luffy ate it. With the video reaching this point, the correct answer was now clear. Ing. The top 3 winners of this quiz are Shanks, vacant. Congratulations to one person for receiving a reward. Congratulations to Shanks, who receives Kirin arm. Since the Kirin arm comes from another world, here's a special note. Note. An arm tempered with the blood of the ancient divine beast, the Fire Kirin. It possesses superhuman strength and defense, impervious to heat, cold, blades, and bullets. Holy crap. Upon seeing the description of the Kirin arm, the chat room exploded instantly. On a certain stretch of sea not far from Marine headquarters, the flagship of the red-haired pirates, the Red Force, was stationed here. As the reward was distributed, Shanks suddenly felt a searing pain in his left arm. It was as though some ultimate fiery essence was furiously burning at the stump where his arm had been severed. Ugh. Despite the excruciating pain, Shanks gritted his teeth and tried not to make a sound. But how could the youngest of the 4 emperors embarrass himself in front of his crew? Boss. Shanks. Captain. The surrounding officers turned their attention toward Shanks just in time to see his agonized reaction. They desperately wanted to rush over and check on him, but under the constraints of the viewing system, they couldn't move violently. Their actions were limited to small, sluggish movements, like they were caught in a slow-motion wave. Don't worry, I'm fine. Shanks' brows were tightly knitted, but his words reassured everyone that there was no need to panic. He could distinctly feel the cells at the stump of his left arm rapidly regenerating. Each newly formed cell brimmed with intense flame energy and life force. In the next moment, a fiery light illuminated the entire sea area. The clouds in the sky were dyed a blazing orange. To the astonishment of the red-haired pirates' officers, Shanks' left arm was visibly regenerating and repairing itself at an incredible speed. When the flames finally subsided, a blazing fiery arm appeared on Shanks' body. Through the fading firelight, everyone could clearly see a vivid Fire Kirin pattern etched onto the arm. The chat room erupted with activity. Old D. Roger. Little Shanks, do you now have 3 arms? Shanks. Captain, my left arm was severed 10 years ago. Now that I've received a Kirin arm, I still only have 2. Old D. Roger. That's too bad. If you had 3 arms, your strength would reach new heights. Hazuki Odin. Hahaha. Roger, I think 2 arms suit him better, 3 would look strange. Kaido. Shanks, is that Kirin arm really as amazing as it sounds? How does its defense compare to mine? Shanks. We'll have to test it to find out. But this Kirin arm is overflowing with power, and it can even produce Kirin flames. I feel like I've gotten a free Maramara no mi. Bracul Mihik. After the Marineford War, Shanks, come find me on Karakari Island. You now have the qualifications to spar with me again. Shanks. Haha. No problem. But I feel like with my left hand wielding a sword, I can beat you into a dog. Onigashima Spider. Impervious to heat and cold, indestructible against blades and bullets. Is this Kirin arm really that exaggerated? Borsellino, troublesome. A Yonko-level pirate gaining something like this is truly headache-inducing. Sengoku. Don't overthink it. The viewing continues. As long as we get chances to answer questions, the Marines will surely receive rewards too. Shiki. With your rotten luck, you won't get anything. Once I'm revived, I'll tear down Marine headquarters and settle the score for that one arrow. Sengoku. Shut up. I don't have time to waste words with a dead man. The video continued playing. Day after day, Luffy trained tirelessly from dawn till dusk. 2 years later, Luffy was now 9 years old. In the mountains, Luffy was training his observation Haki while being surrounded by 100 wild beasts. Suddenly, an overwhelming sense of dominance radiated from Luffy, spreading throughout the forest in an instant. All the beasts present immediately collapsed, legs flailing, foaming at the mouths, and convulsing uncontrollably. Some even defecated and urinated simultaneously. It was a horrifying sight. Holy crap. Seeing this scene, the strong ones in the chat room felt their scalps tingle. Doberman. That's Company Conqueror's Haki. Kuzan. No need to doubt it, that's definitely Conqueror's Haki. Suru. Garp, your grandson truly lives up to expectations. Awakening Conqueror's Haki at age 9 is an extremely rare talent even in the New World. Monkey D. Garp. Stop talking. The more you say, the worse I feel. Compared to that red Luffy, I increasingly feel like my eldest grandson is nothing but trash. Monkey D. Luffy. Oh. Nico Robin. Grandpa Garp strikes again with his harsh CRITICISM. Arana is Oro. So we're adventuring under the leadership of trash. Frankie. Hahaha. Stop it, it's too painful. Super. Charlotte Katakuri. This kid's talent really is insane. Marco. Both Straw Hats likely share the same potential. It's just that the other Luffy dedicated all his time to training, which is why he awakened Conqueror's Haki early. In theory, this Luffy must also have royal potential, he just hasn't awakened it yet. Monkey D. Luffy. Hey. Can I awaken Conqueror's Haki too? Monkey D. Garp. You idiot. How dare you ask that? The other Luffy awakened Conqueror's Haki at 9. And you? You haven't awakened it yet, aren't you ashamed? Oh Hancock. Grandpa, stop scolding Luffy-kun. Luffy-kun has already awakened Conqueror's Haki, I can vouch for it. Back when Luffy was on Amazon Lily Island, seeing Marguerite and the others' lives threatened in a dire situation caused him to unconsciously awaken his Conqueror's Haki. Though Luffy didn't understand what had happened, Hancock did. Now, seeing Luffy criticized by his grandfather, she couldn't bear it and quickly stepped in to defend him. Monkey D. Garp. Shut up. Don't call me grandpa so casually. Your relationship with Luffy is none of my business, don't drag me into it. Thinking about how Luffy had completely wasted his potential infuriated Garp beyond measure. Damn it, Luffy's current state was utterly ruined. Garp now wished he could dive into the red framed screen and switch places with the other Garp on the other side. Meanwhile, the Luffy in the video continued training. Day after day, year after year. Another 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. Luffy was now 14. 2 months after Ace set sail, Luffy followed suit and embarked on his own journey. At this point, the glowing red framed screen dimmed, signaling the end of the scene. Monkey D. Luffy. Huh? Did I really set sail at 14 over there? Why didn't I go with Ace? Port is D. Ace. Luffy, don't you see? That version of me isn't worthy of sailing with you. Monkey D. Luffy. Ah, is that so? Nami? If that Luffy set sail so early, wouldn't that mean we'd never have met him? Urano is Oro. I don't know. Around that time, I was probably still working as a bounty hunter in the area. Maybe Luffy would have run into me. But that version of Luffy is way too strong. He might not even think much of me. Usopp. If he doesn't look up to you, then I definitely won't stand a chance with red-haired Luffy. Nico Robin. There's no need to think so hard about it. Our meeting with Luffy was fate. That version of Luffy will surely have his own destiny as well. Sanji. Beautiful Robin-chan is absolutely right. Urano is Oro. Sanji, you're such an embarrassment. Tony Chopper. Sanji, you're such an embarrassment. Usopp. Sanji, you're such an embarrassment. Sanji. Damn you, Mosshead. I'll take you on. Amidst the Straw Hat Pirates' playful banter, the large screen with its white frame slowly lit up. On a bright and sunny day, 17-year-old Luffy recklessly steered a small boat out to sea. He aimed to form a pirate crew and find 10 companions. However, things didn't go smoothly. Not even half a day into his journey, Luffy encountered a whirlpool and his boat was destroyed. Fortunately, thanks to his quick thinking, Luffy managed to dive into a barrel and narrowly avoided drowning. By sheer coincidence, the barrel Luffy was in was fished out by Kobe. Luffy stepped in, punching Alvida and helping Kobe escape her control. Afterward, the two arrived at Shell's town. Zoro made his entrance. At first, Luffy thought Zoro was the murderous devil Kobe had described and didn't consider recruiting him. But upon learning that Zoro had willingly allowed himself to be blackmailed by Captain Morgan to protect a little girl, Luffy beat Morgan to a pulp right there in the street and immediately decided to recruit Zoro as a comrade. Rox D. Gibbik. What exactly are we watching here? This kid's adventure story. Old D. Roger. What are you blabbering about? No one's forcing you to watch. Shiki. I find this quite entertaining. Haven't you noticed? The Marines in this base oppress the townspeople. And yet, Sengoku goes around spouting nonsense about justice. What kind of justice is that? It's laughable. Odin. ROFL. These shameless Marines have the audacity to call us pirates. Charlotte Linlin. Marines having honor. Anyone with honor wouldn't join the Marines. Sengoku. Spreading lies about the Marines. TCH, do you really think people will believe a word coming from you pirates? In the Marine outpost square, Kobe tried to untie Zoro but was shot down by a bullet from the Marines. Then, Colonel Morgan appeared, ordering a squad of Marines to fire a barrage of bullets at Zoro and Kobe. Just as their lives seemed to be at an end, Luffy descended from the sky like a god. The hail of bullets struck Luffy's body, only to bounce off due to his rubber fruit powers. After saving Zoro, Luffy expressed his desire to recruit him, but Zoro firmly stated that he would never become a pirate. However, Luffy held onto Zoro's 3 swords. Now, you have 2 choices. Either fight alongside me against the Marines and you'll become a wanted criminal by the world government or die here. Your choice. Upon hearing Luffy's ultimatum, Zoro's expression turned to shock. You actually gave me a multiple choice question with only one option. You must be the devil's grandson. Well, whatever. Rather than dying here, I might as well team up with you as a pirate. With that, Luffy untied Zoro's ropes. The Marines charged forward, but Zoro instantly equipped his 3 swords, striking a cool pose as he blocked all incoming attacks from behind. His gaze hardened as he stared at Luffy. Listen carefully. I've agreed to join you as a pirate, but I have my own ambitions. From now on, whether I gain fame or infamy, I want the world to remember my name. I am a swordsman who aims to become the strongest swordsman in the world. Hearing this, Luffy grinned widely. The world's strongest swordsman, how awesome. A pirate king's crewmate should be this outstanding. Shanks. Wow. Luffy, your crewmate has quite the dream. Becoming the world's strongest swordsman. That's no small feat. Joan. It's not just difficult, it's practically impossible with that person around. Vista. Exactly. As long as Haki is alive, the title of the world's strongest swordsman remains unshakable. Dracula Haki. Do not mock his dreams. I fully approve of his goal. In the future, I will wait for him atop the throne of the world's strongest swordsman, ready to face his challenge. SSSHH. When Mihawk uttered those words, everyone present was left utterly stunned. For him to acknowledge someone like this. What extraordinary qualities does he possess? At Sabati Archipelago. The enormous screen still lingered on the moment when the Marineford War began. On a high vantage point, the supernovas were scattered around, watching intently. Seeing Hawkeye Mihawk's comments about Zoro in the chat room, Killer, one of the supernovas and a sword-wielding warrior, spoke up grimly. For a swordsman to receive such approval from Hawkeye. Beside him, Eustace Kid sneered. What are you thinking about? He's just the world's strongest swordsman. Sooner or later, we'll knock him off his throne. Let you take a seat as the new world's strongest swordsman. Killer didn't respond. He knew his captain couldn't tolerate anyone above him and didn't feel like wasting breath arguing with him. The Straw Hat Brat sure has some damn good luck, huh? To get someone like Zoro so easily, Trafalgar Law said casually, leaning back against a large rock with his legs crossed. On the left, Scratchman Apu burst into laughter. Ahahaha. Who would have thought that the second strongest member of the Straw Hat crew was tricked and coerced onto the ship by Luffy himself? Enough talk, look, they're going to fight again. Urauge interrupted. On the screen. Luffy charged into battle against Colonel Morgan. Though Morgan was physically strong, his combat skills paled in comparison to Luffy's. In no time, Luffy knocked Morgan to the ground. Grabbing Morgan by the collar, Luffy scolded him angrily. You Marines like you are ruining Kobe's dreams. Just as Luffy was about to deliver another punch, Axe-Hand Morgan's subordinate, Helmeppo, pointed a gun at Kobe's head, threatening Luffy. If you don't want him to die, don't move. Helmeppo shouted loudly. Luffy let go of Morgan and turned to face Helmeppo. Gomu Gomu no pistol. Luffy launched his attack, stretching his arm toward Helmeppo at lightning speed. But just as he struck, Morgan, who had been released, stood behind Luffy like a massive door, raising his axe high. Goldie Roger. This kid, can he be this careless in battle? Brox D. Zebek. Throwing yourself into danger for the sake of saving a useless piece of trash. What an idiot. Charlotte Katakuri. He clearly has the strength to control the situation, but ends up being manipulated by others. He won't amount to much. Shiki. A wanted Marine recruit and a temporary ally who just joined. How does he survive Morgan's axe? Luffy, watch out behind you. Seeing Morgan raise his axe, Kobe screamed frantically. However, without even turning his head, Luffy calmly called out. Zoro. Whoosh. The flash of cold light cut through the air. Morgan's blood sprayed everywhere as he collapsed with a thunderous thud. The figure appeared where Morgan fell, holding 2 swords in his hands and biting down on a third. Barano is Zoro, the 3-sword-style swordsman. Zoro glanced back slightly, speaking indifferently, piece of cake. Captain. Monkey D. Luffy. That's so cool, Zoro. Even Luffy himself was utterly engrossed, shouting excitedly as if binge-watching a drama series. Barano is Zoro. Oi, you idiot Luffy, how can you praise your own teammate so openly in public? Trafalgar Law. Zoro-san, that strike was indeed impressive. But what's truly remarkable is how quickly Straw Hat trusted you after recruiting you. Just like that, he entrusted his back to you without hesitation. Goldie Roger. Wow. This trust reminds me so much of the bond I shared with Rayleigh back then. Silver's Rayleigh, yes Roger. Those were the days, how nostalgic. Goldie Roger. Huh. Rayleigh, you're here too. Why haven't I heard you speak until now? Silver's Rayleigh, Shaki forbade me from talking. If I do, she won't give me money for booze. Goldie Roger. PFFT. Haha. So you really did end up jazzing Shaki, huh? Shiki. The right-hand man of the Pirate King reduced to a henpecked husband. Are you trying to make me laugh myself to death, Rayleigh? Jahahaha. Shaki. Oh please, Rayleigh was joking. He's actually just woken up from a drunken stupor, spouting nonsense all over the place. It's exhausting enough as it is. Silver's really. Hahaha. Rocks D Zebek. Damn it. Shiki, Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, Odin, you bastards, take a good look at this. Look how their crew treats their captain. And compare that to yourselves. Either stabbing each other in the back or running away during crucial moments. You're nothing but trash. Shiki. Rocks, how dare you compare yourself to Straw Hat? Can you even match the level of trust he shows to his crew? Can you? Edward Newgate. Trust goes both ways. Rocks, don't sit there pretending to lecture us when you know exactly what kind of person you are. Kaido. Damn it, I didn't run away. I simply wasn't informed about your plan to raid God Valley. By the time I found out, you were already dead. Charlotte Linlin. I may have gone along with it, but I'm not your mother. If you wanted to commit suicide, why should I follow you to my doom? Borsellino. My OMY, watching these pirate legends tear each other apart is quite terrifying, isn't it? WOOO. Yellow Monkey, ever the troublemaker, enjoyed fanning the flames of chaos. Sure enough, under his provocation, the chat room exploded into heated arguments. Just then, the large white frame screen slowly dimmed. And next to it, the red frame screen began to glow brightly. As the red frame screen gradually brightened, a new scene unfolded. This time, it wasn't just Luffy's journey being showcased, it was something far grander, an echo of the future that awaited him. The atmosphere in the viewing area grew quiet as everyone focused intently on what appeared before them. At the foot of Mount Kalubo, Luffy stood in a small boat, waving goodbye to Dayton and the others. Setting sail. It wasn't a planned decision, but rather a spur-of-the-moment choice. Over the years, Luffy had been training his Haki and mastering the powers of the Gomu Gomu no Mi in the mountains, his strength growing at an astonishing rate. But over the past 6 months, Luffy's progress had slowed significantly. Especially in terms of Haki, his growth had almost come to a standstill. This inability to improve left Luffy feeling insecure. He confided in Dayton about these struggles, and she told him bluntly, a sapling grown in a greenhouse can never become a towering tree. All those who stand at the pinnacle of power have undergone their transformations through battle. Luffy, the East Blue is too small to hold your dreams. It's time for you to go out and see the world. When Dayton spoke these words earnestly, Luffy finally resolved to set sail. Standing on the shore, Dayton concealed her worries behind a carefree smile. She said loudly, listen up, Luffy. Even if you don't want to be a Marine, absolutely do not join the Revolutionary Army. Dayton had known Garp for a long time. She still vividly remembered that day when Garp learned that Monkey D. Dragon had joined the Revolutionary Army. He cried his heart out all night. Dayton didn't want history to repeat itself. Luffy nodded with a gentle smile. Don't worry, I won't join the Revolutionary Army. Both the revolutionaries and Marines are full of constraints. I just want to live freely. Freely, huh? Dayton looked surprised. Then, shrugging casually, she added, so you're thinking of becoming a pirate, huh? Well, that's fine too. Pirates and Marines aren't mortal enemies like the revolutionaries and Marines are. In this world, there are countless pirates, but only those who commit crimes get hunted by the Marines. Some pirates, despite committing numerous atrocities, aren't even pursued, they might even become allies of the Marines. But the revolutionaries, from the moment they join, they become sworn enemies of the Marines till death. Luffy chuckled lightly. Not exactly, I haven't decided whether I'll become a pirate or anything else. I just want to explore the vast world and find opportunities to grow stronger, so no one can restrict my freedom. Hearing this, Dayton felt immense relief. If that's the case, little Luffy probably wouldn't end up opposing Garp. That's good then. Brat, safe travels. With that, Dayton tossed a cloth bag to Luffy, instructing him, inside is some money I've saved. You eat so much, Luffy, don't starve yourself. If the outside world doesn't suit you, remember, Mount Kalubo and Dayton's home will always welcome you back. After saying this, Dayton turned around without looking back. The two bandits beside her hesitated for a moment, glanced at Luffy, then silently followed her lead. As Dayton neared the edge of the forest, she heard Luffy's voice calling after her. Dayton, take care of yourself. The tough burly female bandit couldn't hold back any longer, tears of affection welled up in her eyes. Dayton. That version of young Luffy is so considerate, but our Luffy isn't bad either. Monkey D. Garp. How is he not bad? There's a gap between the East Blue and South Blue versions. Garp clearly remembered the earlier scene from the white frame screen. Luffy crossing his legs, raising both arms high, shouting, I'm gonna be king of the pirates. And that was it. And now look at Red Luffy. Though outwardly distant, his heart was warm. Most importantly, Red Luffy explicitly stated he wouldn't join the Revolutionary Army. He also had no immediate plans to become a pirate. Just this one point made Garp incredibly satisfied. Damn it, stop thinking about it, stop thinking about it. The more he thought about it, the more Garp wanted to jump into the red frame screen and swap places with the other Garp. On the shimmering sea, a few seagulls skimmed low across the water's surface. Under the bright sunlight, Luffy lay sprawled in the small boat's cabin. A straw hat covered his face, the farewell gift Shanks had given him on the day the red-haired pirates left Windmill Village. Though Luffy and Shanks hadn't spent much time together, Shanks' influence on Luffy was undeniable. Back then, when Luffy held prejudices against pirates, Shanks' casual remark "pirates live life as they please" completely changed his perspective. Yes. Pirate or marine, it didn't matter. One's identity didn't define good or evil. The key was to live with no regrets, doing what felt right in your heart. Just as Luffy relaxed under the warm sun and gentle sea breeze, the calm waters suddenly churned into a massive whirlpool. Tony Chopper. Whoa. Red Luffy ran into a whirlpool too. Sanji Vinsmoke. Is Luffy really this unlucky? He set sail 3 years earlier, yet he still couldn't escape a whirlpool. Usopp. This whirlpool is so cruel it must have been lying in wait for Luffy. Frankie. Haha. So or Luffy got ambushed by this whirlpool 3 years early. Monkey D. Luffy. Wow. That whirlpool is several times bigger than the one I encountered. Like a Robin, this doesn't look good. Unlike White Luffy, who had a wooden barrel to rely on, Red Luffy's boat only has water pouches, no containers to help him survive. Robin's words immediately drew everyone's attention. Sure enough. While Red Luffy's boat was larger than White Luffy's, there were no barrels or sturdy objects aboard that could save him from the vortex. Instead, all he had were collapsible water bags, useless against such a force of nature. The Pone Beach. Could Straw Hat Luffy over there actually die like this? Trafalgar Law. Not likely. Even weakling White Straw Hat survived his first encounter with the sea. Red Straw Hat's strength far surpasses that, he won't go down so easily. Shiki. Jahahaha. Youngsters, you truly know nothing about the horrors of the sea. On these waters, survival often has little to do with power. During the Battle of Water 7, if not for an unexpected storm, Roger's pirate crew might have been wiped out entirely. The same storm allowed them to narrowly escape while decimating the Sky Ocean pirates, and even Shiki nearly perished. Dracula Mihik. Indeed. If Luffy weren't a devil fruit user, he'd stand a better chance. But as it stands, his odds of surviving something like this are slim. Shanks. No, Luffy isn't going to die so easily. Others might doubt, but Shanks understood something crucial: Luffy might very well be the destined individual Roger had waited for. Earlier, the viewing system had rewarded Luffy with the awakening of the Gum Gum fruit. And Shanks knew exactly what that meant. A destined person wouldn't perish so casually. If he did, he wouldn't be worthy of fulfilling destiny. The whirlpool roared like a monstrous beast beneath the waves, its gaping maw swallowing everything within range into the abyss. Luffy stirred awake at the commotion. Standing up, he gazed at the scene before him with mild surprise. Scratching his head, he muttered. The sea sure is unpredictable. One moment it's calm, and the next, you get a whirlpool like this. The small boat spiraled toward the center of the vortex, caught in the violent currents. Looks like sailing freely on the seas requires having a navigator on board. Luffy rubbed his chin thoughtfully, seriously pondering the issue. Nami? A navigator, huh? Sounds like my CUE. Urano is Oro. Hey. At a time like this, how can he still be thinking about stuff like that? Is Red Luffy just as scatterbrained as ours? Sanji Vinsmoke. Of course. They're the same guy, equally scatterbrained. Monkey D. Luffy, wait. Are you guys talking trash about me? Trafalgar Law. Indeed, Captain Straw Hat is definitely a bit scatterbrained. Irouge. What? Is he really going to get swallowed whole by the whirlpool? Basil Hawkins, odd. I randomly divined Red Luffy's fate, and his survival rate is 100%. The whirlpool raged on, waves crashing violently. It seemed inevitable that Luffy's tiny boat would be completely consumed by the vortex. Good thing I ate the Gum Gum fruit back then. Otherwise, I'd be completely out of options right now. Muttering softly, Luffy's arms and legs suddenly stretched out like 4 thick ropes, firmly anchoring the boat in place. Then, he opened his mouth wide and sucked in deeply. The air above the sea surface rushed toward him as though drawn through a vent, pouring into Luffy's gaping maw. In an instant, his belly inflated dozens of times its original size, and it kept expanding rapidly, growing longer and larger with absurd exaggeration. Luffy now resembled an enormous balloon being blown up, not round, but shaped more like a sausage used for modeling. From above, looking down at the ocean, Luffy appeared connected to the boat via a massive airbag, hundreds of times bigger than the vessel itself. Gomu Gomu no thruster. But the thunderous roar, the giant sausage began spewing air furiously. The torrent of air blasted out of Luffy's mouth, causing his upper and lower lips to flap wildly like flags in a hurricane. The tremendous thrust propelled the boat forward with incredible speed. Against the raging current, the boat surged ahead, quickly escaping the grasp of the whirlpool. When this scene unfolded, the entire chat room fell silent. Everyone's jaws dropped open in shock. Their minds froze, utterly overwhelmed by the image of that massive 200-meter-long sausage. The Archipelago. Well, what just happened? Kid stared at the image of the small boat and red-haired Luffy, utterly dumbfounded. Capone Beach took a drag of his cigarette, his expression one of disbelief. That straw hat brat over there, he's truly a genius when it comes to devil fruit development. Scratchman Apu chimed in, I must admit, that move is incredibly effective. With this technique, even if you encounter a storm while out at sea, you can quickly escape to safety. Trafalgar Law smirked, impressive, as expected from both of our straw hat leaders, they're truly remarkable. At Marineford. Unquixote Doflamingo burst into laughter, Fufufu. This red straw hat brat is absolutely hilarious. Behind him, Kuzan scratched his head, muttering, this guy's ability to develop his devil fruit powers is completely off the charts. Meanwhile, Kizaru puckered his thick lips, WOW, that was unexpected. If I had eaten that fruit, I doubt I'd have thought to develop it in such a way. Bo Hancock gently touched her lips, murmuring softly, that version of Luffy-kun seems even cuter. And the CHATROOM. Usopp. Oh my gosh. This isn't this just a rubber fruit version of the coup de burst. Frankie. This is far more practical than the coup de burst. Each 100 kilometers consumes 10 liters of cola with the coup de burst, but Luffy's sausage propulsion doesn't use anything. Zoro. Actually, Luffy's might consume even more. Probably about 10 tons of food per 100 kilometers. Bins McSanji. Hahaha. Without food to replenish his energy, every 100 kilometers would probably cost us 1 Luffy. Broke. But still, we should learn this skill. When we run out of cola fuel, this could be a life-saving ability. Monkey D. Luffy. You're right. I'll try hard to master it. And Mary Geoise. Mzanbalung v Nasaru Santo narrowed his eyes slightly. The power of that fruit is considered the most absurd, the most mischievous force in the world. Bilgruja Satan Santo pressed his hands against his cane, speaking in a deep voice, indeed judging by that red-headed Luffy, his fruit hasn't even awakened yet, but its development has already gone down this ridiculous path. After a brief pause, he added, now I understand why that devil fruit chose him. Clearly, this Monkey D. Luffy is almost certainly the most important beacon out there. Marcus Maa Santo's face turned grim as he stroked his long beard. Once this viewing system ends, notify the CP0 agents immediately. List Monkey D. Luffy as the #1 wanted criminal. Having left the storm zone, Luffy opened an oil paper package and pulled out the cured meat that Dayton had prepared for him, eating it with flatbread. Perhaps it was because the previous skill had consumed so much energy, but Luffy's appetite soared. Before he knew it, he had devoured all the food he brought along. Looks like I didn't bring enough meat, I'm only half full. Luffy patted his stomach and stared blankly at the sea. Time flew by and 2 days passed. Luffy was starving. Fortunately, he arrived safely at an island, Kotu Island. Luffy docked his boat and entered the town, heading straight for a restaurant. Boss. Hurry up and bring me some meat, I'm starving to death. After 2 days without food, Luffy slammed his bulging money pouch onto the table, shouting weakly. Seeing Luffy's overflowing wallet, the restaurant owner's eyes widened in shock. Whoa, a big spender just walked in. Alright. Young man, we've got top quality mountain beef here. Would you like to give it a try? Without hesitation, the owner began pushing the most expensive cuts of meat. Sure, as long as it fills me up. Luffy had hardly ever spent money since he was young and had no concept of good or bad meat. All he knew was that he had money in his hand, so he could buy food. That was all. Soon, a plate of fragrant secret spice marinated mountain beef was placed in front of Luffy, who began devouring it ravenously. By the way, boss, are there any strong people on this island? While stuffing his face with beef, Luffy casually asked. His journey across the seas wasn't just to see the world, it was also to grow stronger through battles. Of course there are. With such a big spender enjoying their premium beef, the owner naturally decided to throw in some valuable information along with the sale. If you're asking about the strongest fighter around these islands, look no further than the pirate hunter Zoro. Legend has it that he drifts across the seas like a ghost, hunting down skilled pirates and turning them in for bounty rewards. His strength is absolutely unmatched like this. The owner spoke vividly, raising his thumb to emphasize Zoro's incredible prowess. Great. Where is he? After swallowing another mouthful of beef, Luffy asked excitedly. Huh? You're looking for him? Hearing this, the owner's expression changed dramatically. He leaned in and whispered earnestly, "Listen, kid, I thought you were just asking casually. But if you're serious about finding him, I strongly advise you not to do it." "Why?" The owner's face filled with fear. He instinctively glanced toward the door before leaning closer to whisper in Luffy's ear, "They say that guy is like a demon, he kills without hesitation. So scary." Luffy's expression turned serious. He silently resolved in his heart, when sparring with someone this strong, I can't afford to be careless. Yeah, I'll go all out from the start. Can't afford to trip up in a gutter fight. Nami. Ha 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 ha. Red-haired Luffy is hilarious. He actually believed the boss's words. Usopp. But honestly, the shopkeeper wasn't wrong. Zoro really is the strongest on those nearby islands. It's just that compared to red-haired Luffy, there's a huge gap. Vince McSanji. That mosshead wouldn't stand a chance against red-haired Luffy, would he? Urano Zoro, current timeline. Didn't you hear his thoughts? He plans to go all out from the start. I'm seriously worried for my other self over there. Don't let him get killed in one hit by red-haired Luffy. Eustace kid. Ha 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 ha. Now that would be funny. The Pone Beach. Looking at the situation, it's quite possible. Tony Chopper. Poor Zoro over there. Luffy, with overwhelming dominance, continued devouring food like a storm. The dishes on his table were replaced again Nagain. BURP. Finally satisfied, Luffy pushed his money pouch forward. "Boss, bill me." "Got it. Young man, just a moment." The shopkeeper happily snatched the money pouch and scurried off to the counter to tally the bill. Luffy idly picked at the leftover meat scraps stuck to the bones while waiting. Suddenly, a shadow loomed behind him. Luffy immediately sensed the hostile intent from the person behind him, but he didn't react too strongly since his observation Haki had already locked onto them, no sign of an imminent attack yet. Luffy turned his head and saw a teenage boy glaring fiercely at him. The boy had 3 swords tied to his waist and a green bandana draped over his left shoulder. Against the backlight, Luffy looked up at him from below his side, akin to staring at a demon from the depths of hell. "Boy. I heard you were asking about me." Zoro glared menacingly at Luffy. He had been passing by outside when a bounty hunter friend approached him, saying someone inside the restaurant was inquiring about him. In these waters, Urano Zoro was infamous for his ferocity. Most people went out of their way to avoid him, so who'd dare ask about him? Anyone bold enough to seek him out was likely a hired assassin sent by his enemies. And Zoro, being the ruthless character he was, naturally came to investigate as soon as he heard. Goldie Roger. This kid sure acts tough. Shikey. He hasn't realized how serious things are yet, jahahaha. Brox D. Zebek. Talking big and getting beaten badly, this happens all the time. Vince McSanji. Murimo, you're in for a world of trouble, huh? Urano Zoro, current timeline. Idiot curly brow, that's the other me we're talking about. Vince McSanji. It's still you, isn't it? Luffy blinked in surprise before realizing what was happening. He asked, "Are you Urano Zoro, the pirate hunter?" "That's right. What do you want with me?" Zoro's tone was far from polite. Luffy got straight to the point. "I want to fight you." "Knew it." Zoro sneered. "A battle to determine not only superiority but life or death, right?" Luffy froze. "Do all battles with strong opponents have to be like this?" No wonder Dayton told him that strength grows through fighting. Sure. No problem." Luffy nodded solemnly. Seeing Luffy's response, Zoro gave him a quick once-over. Such guts for someone so young. "This place isn't suitable for a fight." Zoro glanced around the shop, then pointed behind him with his right thumb. "Let's take it outside." "Boss, finish calculating the bill. I'll come back later to collect the change." With that, Luffy followed Zoro outside. The shopkeeper, busy counting coins, didn't even notice Zoro's presence and continued happily tapping away on his abacus. Outside, the two stood facing each other. Soon, whispers began spreading among the crowd gathering in the streets. "Hiss. That's the devil himself, the pirate hunter. Urano Zoro. Yes, it's him. Why would such a terrifying powerhouse show up here? What? Are they seriously going to duel? My goodness. Dueling Urano Zoro, that brat must have a death wish." Among the spectators, those familiar with Zoro quickly recognized him. They were equally shocked that someone dared challenge him without thinking twice. Borsellino. WOWWW, these onlookers, they've set the perfect atmosphere. Kuzan. Indeed. Doflamingo. This is absolutely thrilling. I can't wait to see their jaws drop, fufufu. Echo Moria. Haha. I'm rubbing my hands in anticipation. Urano Zoro, current timeline. Amidst the murmurs of awe from the surrounding crowd, Zoro swiftly unsheathed Wado Ichimonji and clenched it between his teeth. Then, with 2 more metallic rings, he drew his other 2 swords, 1 in each hand. The instant all 3 swords were in position, Zoro moved. His figure darted forward like a cheetah. At lightning speed, he charged directly toward Luffy. So straightforward. Indeed, a battle with a true powerhouse couldn't afford any slack. This is my first real fight, I need to give it my all and not let my guard down even for a moment. Seeing Zoro's overwhelming momentum, Luffy instantly entered combat mode. Bone muscle. As the power of the gum fruit activated, Luffy's arms swelled with muscle. Immediately afterward, a pitch-black medium spread across his arms like spilled ink. It was pure blackness, dense and impenetrable. Kazuki Oden. Whoa. This armament Haki at least at the level of Ryuo, isn't it? Tsuru. Luffy's talent is incredible compared to 7 years ago, his Haki has improved exponentially. Giant. I feel even my own armament Haki might not necessarily surpass his. And he's only 14. Wendy Mouse. You only feel it, but I'm certain. My Haki definitely doesn't reach his level. Garp-san's genes are simply too powerful. Marshall D. Teach. Damn. Is this kid some kind of monster? Monkey D. Garp. Damn it. Why didn't I teach Luffy how to train his Haki back then? Garp felt utterly regretful, as if his intestines were twisting in anguish. Just then, the live chat exploded with gasps and exclamations. On the video screen, atop Luffy's pitch-black covered arms, sudden ripples of Haki resembling lightning began to flicker and surge outward. These lightning-like ripples were intangible, yet visible if you weren't paying close attention, you'd miss them entirely. But the observing powerhouses only needed a glance to be utterly stunned. Because that was Conqueror's Haki envelopment. Sengoku. What? Did I see that right? Luffy just used Conqueror's Haki envelopment. Monkey D. Garp. PFFT. No way. He didn't awaken his Conqueror's Haki until he was 9 years old. Shiryu of the Rain. He was only 9, the word only feels inadequate here. Tsuru. Awakening Conqueror's Haki at 9 and mastering Conqueror's Haki envelopment by 14. Garp, your grandson is a prodigy unlike any other. Monkey D. Garp. Hiss-ah-sigh-ah. Garp was utterly speechless. The more powerful red-haired Luffy proved to be, the more it highlighted how much potential his current grandson had squandered. Over there, red-haired Luffy had achieved Conqueror's Haki envelopment at 14, while his own grandsons couldn't even properly use armament Haki. The gap between them was vast like an ocean separating them. Akainu Archipelago. Listening to the chatter in the chat room, Kid was dumbfounded. He glanced around at everyone else in confusion. Can Conqueror's Haki really be enveloped like that? Why can't I do it? Don't look at me, I don't even have Conqueror's Haki. Noticing Kid's gaze, Capone Beej sneered dismissively. Basil Hawkins shrugged. Don't bother looking at me either, I don't have it either. Forget it. Out of all of us, you're the only one with Conqueror's Haki, Trafalgar Law said lazily, leaning against a rock with his arms crossed. But judging from this, your talent pales in comparison to Straw Hat's. Like, by a lot. Damn it. I'll kill you. Infuriated by Law's taunt comparing him to Luffy, Kid immediately lost his temper. But Law remained completely unfazed. He pointed upward at the viewing system hovering above them. Save it. As long as this thing is active, we're stuck watching quietly. Kid's chest heaved with anger, but unable to act, he could only suppress his rage and stew silently. With no shared prophecy available, Kid redirected his attention to the chat room. Inside the chat room, lively discussions were underway. Goldie Roger. Whitebeard, do you remember when you first mastered Conqueror's Haki envelopment? Edward Newgate. I don't recall exactly, but I think I awakened my Conqueror's Haki around 17 or 18. Mastering the envelopment probably took another decade or so after that. Goldie Roger. Wow, you mastered Conqueror's Haki envelopment in your early 30s. Same for me. Rayleigh was worse, he took even longer. Compared to Luffy, our talents are downright garbage. Silver's Rayleigh. You're not wrong. I definitely mastered Conqueror's Haki envelopment a few years later than you did, Roger. Kazuki Oden. Well, I'm slightly less garbage than you three, I mastered Conqueror's Haki envelopment at 27. Goldie Roger. Hahaha. So we're all equally trash then, huh? Oh yeah, what about Shiki? When did he master it? Shiki, damn it Roger. Are you mocking me on purpose? Goldie Roger. Oops, sorry. Forgot you don't even have it. Charlotte Linlin. So Shiki doesn't have Conqueror's Haki. TSK, and yet he still dared to stand shoulder to shoulder with us in the same pirate crew back then. Kaido. Hahaha. Someone without Conqueror's Haki calling themselves our brother in arms, what a joke. Shiki. Damn it. Stop loading. Just because I don't have Conqueror's Haki doesn't mean I'd be worse if I did. Look at you guys who do have it compared to red-haired Luffy, you're all complete garbage. As the legendary figures bickered among themselves, the members of the Straw Hat Pirates were left utterly stunned by red-haired Luffy's overwhelming power. At the same time, they couldn't help but worry deeply for Zoro over there. Nami. Red-haired Luffy's strength is terrifying. Do you think Zoro will survive? Frankie. Hard to say at this point, Zoro's still just a rookie. Facing a full power strike from such a strong version of Luffy, it's brutal. Like a Robin. From a logical standpoint, Luffy would outright kill Zoro. Vince McSanji. Beautiful Robin-chan speaks the truth. Urano is Zoro, current timeline. There's no doubt about it, even our current Luffy could one-shot me back then. Let alone that monstrous red-haired Luffy. Tony Chopper. Wah. Poor Zoro over there. On Luffy's arms, dense layers of armament Haki, combined with Conqueror's Haki envelopment, shimmered ominously. Even so, Luffy remained extremely cautious. He stood ready, conserving his energy while waiting for the perfect moment. Zoro moved like a cheetah, leaping into the air in an instant. He raised both swords high above his head. Tiger Hunt. His three-sword technique slashed ferociously toward Luffy. Facing Zoro's attack, Luffy was utterly baffled. What's going on? Isn't this guy supposed to be the strongest fighter on the nearby islands? Why does his attack feel as clumsy as a child's? Usopp. Poor Zoro over there about to die and still getting ruthlessly mocked by Luffy. Frankie. That deadpan delivery really stings, doesn't it? Urano is Zoro, current timeline. I swear I want to go over there and slice that damn Luffy up. Vince McSanji. Is it possible that you're simply no match for red-haired Luffy? Monkey D. Luffy, current timeline. I hope I don't actually kill Zoro. Luffy racked his brain trying to figure out why this guy's attack seemed riddled with openings, like stars in the sky. No. Don't fall for it. Maybe these are deliberate openings meant to lure me in. But that thought, the intensity of the Haki enveloping Luffy's arm surged even further. Whoosh. Zoro's attack arrived. The distance between the blades of his three swords and Luffy's body rapidly closed. 9 feet. 8 feet. 7 feet. 3 feet. 2 feet. 1 foot. Though it sounds like a drawn-out process, it unfolded in the blink of an eye. Just as Zoro's blades were about to make contact with Luffy's body, Luffy sidestepped. Swish. Zoro missed entirely. What? Seeing that he had missed, Zoro's eyes widened in disbelief. He whipped his head around to look at Luffy, only to find that the strange black aura and mysterious ripples surrounding Luffy's arms had vanished completely. Well, what's the meaning of this? You were clearly charging up earlier, why didn't you attack? Zoro demanded loudly. Luffy stared intently at Zoro, realizing he wasn't pretending. After a moment, he shook his head and said. Because if I threw that punch you'd die. Seeing Luffy hold back and spare Zoro in the video, the members of the Straw Hat Pirates all let out a collective sigh of relief. Although this event took place in another world, it still felt deeply personal after all, these were their counterparts. Had red-haired Luffy actually killed Zoro, it might have created an irreparable rift between the current versions of Luffy and Zoro. What kind of joke is this? Hearing Luffy's words, Zoro was on the verge of losing his mind. He wasn't undefeated in these waters, but he was certainly one of the strongest fighters around. And now this punk was saying he could kill him with a single punch. Unacceptable. Zoro roared, get into your fighting stance. Let's go again. Luffy simply shook his head. No more fighting. You're too weak. Arg. There's a limit to how much you can look down on someone. Zoro felt his pride being shredded to pieces. He growled, since you're so arrogant, don't blame me if you die. With that, Zoro launched himself at Luffy once more with blinding speed. However, he barely made it halfway before collapsing cleanly onto the ground, foaming at the mouth. Trafalgar Law. Did Zoro just suddenly get heatstruck over there? Eustace Kid. Idiot. That's the effect of Conqueror's Haki. But shouldn't red-haired Luffy's Conqueror's Haki be stronger? Why did it only knock out one person? As someone who also possessed Conqueror's Haki, whenever Kid unleashed his, he would send entire crowds collapsing to the ground. Such overwhelming power. But in the video, only Zoro had been knocked unconscious, while the surrounding spectators remained perfectly fine. Not even slightly affected. Kaido. Fool. The stronger you train your Conqueror's Haki, the better control you gain over it. Your one blast knocks everyone down approach is exactly what rookies do. Eustace Kid. Who are you calling a fool, idiot? Shiki. Jahahaha. Well said, Kaido's just an idiot. Kaido. Is that you, Kid? I'll remember your face. Eustace Kid. Go screw yourself. Everyone else may fear you as one of the 4 emperors, but I don't give a damn. Sooner or later, I'll knock you off your throne. Kaido. Damn brat. You've got some nerve talking to me like that. Luffy, having knocked Zoro unconscious with his Conqueror's Haki, turned to leave. Wait. Just as Luffy began walking away, he heard Zoro's voice call out from behind him. Huh? Luffy frowned slightly, turning back to look at Zoro. Why hadn't this guy passed out completely? Even a tiger in the wild would remain unconscious for quite some time under the pressure of such potent conqueror's haki. Looking at Zoro, Luffy spoke calmly, I already told you you're too weak. I won't fight you. No. I'm not asking for another fight. The gap between us is clear as day. Zoro gritted his teeth, using his swords to prop himself up as he staggered to his feet. Such incredible willpower. Luffy silently praised Zoro in his heart. He knew firsthand how painful it was to rise again after being overwhelmed by Conqueror's haki. It was like pushing through extreme training, exhausting yourself completely and then forcing yourself to stand up but multiplied tenfold. That was the difficulty Zoro faced right now. Tell me, why can a single glance from you render me powerless? How can I counter this power? Zoro panted heavily, his eyes filled with determination. Good. Acknowledging shame and striving to improve. Luffy inwardly approved and replied, this is Conqueror's haki. Only those with both immense willpower and strength can withstand its pressure. From what I saw, your willpower is already strong. What you lack is strength. Once you grow stronger, you'll naturally be able to resist it. Conqueror's haki, Zoro repeated the term, clenching his teeth tightly. How does one learn to use this ability? Luffy shook his head. This type of haki is innate. If you possess the potential, it will awaken automatically as you grow stronger. Luffy's words hit Zoro like a thunderbolt, leaving him momentarily stunned. Zoro took a deep breath, lowering his head. Innate, damn it. Does this mean I was born destined never to become truly strong? Not necessarily. There are 3 types of haki. While Conqueror's haki is innate, the other 2 armament haki and observation haki can be cultivated through training. As he spoke, Luffy extended his hand, demonstrating the envelopment of armament haki. By mastering armament haki envelopment, you can enhance both your defense and attack power. And observation haki allows you to sense the presence and emotions of those around you, helping you predict danger and avoid it during battle. If you can master armament haki and observation haki to their peak, you can still become incredibly strong. Luffy explained further. Hearing this, hope reignited in Zoro's heart. He looked at Luffy. Please, how can I learn these 2 types of haki? You want to learn? I'll teach you. But I'll only explain it once. How much you grasp depends entirely on you. Though the methods for cultivating haki were precious knowledge, Luffy didn't believe in holding back. If Shanks had kept secrets from him back then, Luffy's haki wouldn't have reached the level it was at today. To Luffy, this was akin to passing down a legacy. Shanks' carefree spirit. The Monkey D. Luffy would carry that legacy forward. Shanks. Hahaha. That Luffy over there is so amusing. He's even imitating the way I talk. Old D. Roger. Teaching someone just once and letting them learn as much as they can on their own, there's nothing wrong with that. Silver's really. Indeed, to Luffy right now, Zoro over there is like how Shanks was to him when they first met, a stranger he respects. The fact that he's willing to teach him even once is already commendable. Burano is Zoro, current. Thank goodness, I thought my counterpart over there was about to get beaten up by Luffy. Nami. I have a feeling that Luffy and Zoro over there are going to become partners soon. Like a Robin. Not only will they become partners, but perhaps the version of Zoro over there will end up stronger than our Zoro. The Zoro in the red-framed video is only 16 years old at this point. Even if his strength hasn't yet reached the level of Zoro at 19 in this timeline. By the time he turns 19, having already been exposed to haki, he'll undoubtedly surpass this timeline's Zoro by a significant margin. Brook. Yo ho ho ho. After Luffy, it seems Zoro is also being overshadowed by his older self. In the mountains of Kuragana Island. Zoro gazed at the red-framed screen in the sky, lost in thought. That version of me has better luck than I do. I hope he doesn't waste his youth and grow strong quickly, fulfilling both Kuina's and my dream. Hey, kid, you don't have enough money. The restaurant owner suddenly stepped out, holding Luffy's coin purse, looking utterly exasperated. Despite the bag appearing full and hefty, it contained mostly small denomination berries. This was bad. Luffy scratched his head awkwardly. Not enough. How much more do I owe you? Can I pay you back later? Nani? The shopkeeper was stunned. His expression darkened as he shouted. Come see this. This guy wants to eat for free. Is there no justice left in this world? Doesn't he know better than to cheat an honest man? But just as his gaze inadvertently fell upon a certain green-haired swordsman who had just gotten up from the ground. Hiss. The shopkeeper's heart leapt into his throat. He swallowed his words mid-sentence, too terrified to continue. Zoro calmly looked at the shopkeeper and asked in a low voice. How much does he owe you? 4,000 berries. Facing this infamous devil, the shopkeeper trembled, walking on eggshells as he nervously held up 4 fingers. He feared that one wrong word or tone would cost him his life. As Zoro approached, the shopkeeper's heart pounded wildly, beads of cold sweat pouring down his face like rain. It's all over. I'm done for. Here, take it. That's 4,000 berries. Just as the shopkeeper braced himself for death, 4 large bills were slapped onto his chest. Eh? The shopkeeper froze momentarily before grabbing the money, overcome with relief. Thank you. Thank you so much. He scrambled back into the restaurant, tripping over himself in his haste. Thank you. I'll pay you back those 4,000 berries someday, Luffy said earnestly to Zoro. No need. If you're willing to teach me Haki, consider this tuition. Zoro replied. Zoro shook his head and patted his wallet. I've got money. If you're willing to teach me a few more times, I can treat you to meat. My savings should be enough to cover a month's worth of meat. Meat. A whole month of meat. At these words, Luffy's eyes lit up instantly. Without hesitation, he agreed. Deal. It's a promise. Usopp. PFFT. Nami. Sweat drop. So even that version of Luffy can't resist the temptation of meat, huh? Vince McSanji. Of course, as long as there's meat, Luffy is easy to deal with. Monkey D. Luffy. Meat is delicious, why would anyone resist its allure? Biraj. 4,000 berries as tuition for learning Haki. That's practically highway robbery. Jewelry Bonnie. Haha. Look at that. Zoro's expression earlier, he acted like handing out 4,000 berries made him look rich. Trafalgar Law. Straw Hat clearly thinks 4,000 berries is a fortune too. Capone Beach. These 2 blockheads act like they've never seen money before. Tony Chopper. Luffy, Zoro, you guys are getting roasted. Urano Zoro. Nope, they're talking about the other Zoro, it's got nothing to do with me. Monkey D. Luffy. Yeah, it's not about me either. The Tory Island Mountains. Zoro began his first day of training. In the morning, Zoro used a wooden sword to chop away at a mountain, practicing armament Haki based on what he'd learned. In the afternoon, Zoro trained observation Haki with the help of wild beasts. By the end of the day, Zoro was exhilarated. But Luffy was restless. He felt uneasy. Throughout the day, he occasionally guided Zoro's training, but he himself had nothing meaningful to do. The method of cultivating armament Haki by striking mountains and using wild animals to train observation Haki had almost no effect on Luffy anymore. Staying in the mountains meant he couldn't train his Haki effectively. The day without training left him feeling like he was wasting precious time. Guilt overwhelmed him. Trafalgar Law. Red Hat Boss is way too diligent. Just one day without training and he's already feeling guilty. Usopp. Our Luffy would rather sleep all day. Monkey D. Luffy. Hey. I don't sleep all day. Vince McSanji. True, Luffy doesn't sleep all day. Monkey D. Luffy. Sanji really loves me. Vince McSanji. But aside from sleeping all day, Luffy also eats meat non-stop. Like a robin. AHAHAHA. Monkey D. Luffy. Ah. You 2 jerks, I'll fight you both. Shanks. Hahaha. The next day in the forest. Luffy and Zoro returned to the forest once again. Zoro, well, you're practicing Haki, I've got nothing to do. I can't just waste time like this. Teach me swordsmanship. That way, when you're training your Haki, I can practice sword techniques. Luffy said before they began their training. Swordsmanship? Zoro asked, surprised by the request. He frowned. Swordsmanship has to be trained from a young age. Starting halfway through is going to make it hard for you to achieve anything significant. Besides, with your strength, you don't even need swordsmanship to be powerful. Luffy shook his head. You don't have to worry about that. I just don't want to waste this month. If I'm going to sit around here doing nothing for an entire month, I'd rather leave you here to train on your own and continue my voyage. Wasting a whole day yesterday had been unbearable for him. For Luffy, it felt like a gamer being denied access to computers or phones for an entire day, pure torture. If this went on for a month, he'd lose his mind. Even if Zoro was right and his swordsmanship wouldn't amount to much, learning something new wasn't a bad thing. Most importantly, as long as he could learn something, Luffy would feel satisfied. Alright. I'll teach you swordsmanship. At the thought of Luffy leaving, Zoro immediately caved. What a joke. After finally meeting someone willing to guide him in Haki training, if Zoro drove him away, he'd probably wake up in the middle of the night and slap himself silly. But remember, there are no shortcuts in swordsmanship. We have to start from scratch. The beginning will be simple and boring. Are you sure you're okay with that? If you waste any more time talking nonsense, I'm leaving right now. Alright. Let's get started. Zoro unsheathed his sword and slashed down a pine tree with a single stroke. Then, he carved a mark into the cross-section of the stump. From now on, your daily task is to slash at this mark. When you can hit it perfectly every time without damaging the rest of the trunk, we'll move on to the next phase of training. Handing over the sword to Luffy, Zoro quickly went back to practicing his haki. Swordsmanship, huh? Luffy held the sword and examined the mark on the stump. But the swift swing, he struck the mark but missed by a small margin. Training precision and mastery, huh? Just one swing, and Luffy immediately understood the purpose of this exercise. It was similar to the accuracy drills he used to practice as a child when developing control over his rubber powers. The only difference was that instead of using his rubberized hands, he was now using a sword. Usopp. Luffy learning swords, this is ridiculous. Frankie. Given Luffy's fighting style, if he uses a sword, it'll definitely look hilarious. Monkey D. Luffy. Hey. Don't underestimate me. I've used swords before, it's just inconvenient for me. Luffy had indeed used swords during his battle against Arlong in Kokoyasi village and later against Moria in the Florian Triangle. All things considered, he hadn't done half bad. Trafalgar Law. With Straw Hat Boss's natural talent, if he had started practicing swordsmanship as a child, he'd surely become a legendary swordsman known across the seas. But starting halfway through, he's probably just passing the time. Dracul Mihik. While swordsmanship does require early training, prodigies are exceptions to the rule. Shanks. Exactly. There are similarities between martial arts and swordsmanship. If a strong fighter has a knack for swords, transitioning isn't that difficult. Goldie Roger. Little Shanks, you seem quite fond of Luffy. Shanks. Of course. Captain, haven't you noticed yet? Goldie Roger. I realized it the moment I saw that thing. When Roger saw the Gomu Gomu no Mi actively choosing Luffy, he understood that the person Shanks referred to was none other than Luffy. And he agreed with Shanks' assessment. This Luffy might very well be the chosen one destined to fulfill great things. Hazuki Odin. Captain Roger, what did you discover? Goldie Roger. Haha, Odin, that's a secret for now. Shikey, damn you Roger. Stop speaking in riddles. What are you and Shanks scheming? Goldie Roger. Just WATCH. The day passes quickly. When the first rays of dawn illuminated the world, two figures entered the forest once again. Luffy, today you'll continue with your slashing practice and I'll focus on my haki training, Zoro said, stretching lazily. He placed a pack of food nearby. To save time, they brought lunch along with them. Luffy immediately called out to Zoro. Wait. I think I'm ready for the next stage of swordsmanship training. With that, Luffy drew his sword and cleanly cut down another pine tree, revealing a smooth cross-section. Slash. 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 He followed up with dozens of rapid strikes. Zoro stared at the single mark left on the cross-section, utterly stunned. Monster? What kind of monster is this? What? Where did you come from, you freak of nature? Zoro exclaimed, his face pale with disbelief. This can't be possible. It's impossible. What's impossible? Luffy asked, confused. I clearly did it. Why does he keep saying it's impossible? Is this guy missing a few screws? No, Zoro stammered. I started learning the sword at 5 years old and my master said I was a prodigy in swordsmanship. And yet, even with that talent, it took me a full year to master the basics of this slashing technique to reach the level you just demonstrated. How could you possibly master it in one day? Zoro couldn't accept this at all. So that's what he meant by impossible. Luffy thought seriously for a moment. Looking at Zoro, he said earnestly, could it be that I'm actually the kind of prodigy your master was talking about? Jilla. How is this even possible? Capone Beach. I may not know much about swordsmanship, but from what Zoro said, it seems that Straw Hat over there has done something utterly unbelievable. Scratchman Apu. Is it really that difficult to achieve in just one day? Cavendish. Not just difficult, it's extraordinarily super hard. X-Drake. Yeah, I started training with swords as a kid. From my perspective, this is something no human should be capable of doing. Trafalgar Law. Didn't Hawkeyes just say it earlier? While mastering the sword requires starting young, prodigies are an exception. Clearly, Straw Hat Boss falls into the category of a prodigy. Dracul Mihik. Though I did mean to express that idea, even for me, completing basic training in a single day is an absolutely astonishing feat. Shanks. It seems Luffy isn't simply a prodigy. Jewelry Bonnie. And you're saying this isn't being a prodigy? Shanks. This is at least 3 levels above your average prodigy talent. Jewelry Bonnie. Monkey D. Luffy. Am I really that strong? Monkey D. Garp. You idiot. That's Red Hat Luffy we're talking about. You've completely wasted your own potential, you moron. Suru. You can't blame everything on Luffy, Garp. You bear some responsibility too for how he turned out. Sengoku. Garp didn't have much choice, he was a vice admiral in the Marines. He couldn't babysit every day. Although the Straw Hat Pirates were scattered across different locations, upon seeing Zoro's utterly stunned expression on screen, they collectively facepalmed. Encountering such a monstrous version of Luffy must be so painful for poor Zoro. Ah. Zoro was dumbfounded. Is it possible that you're the kind of prodigy my master was talking about? Zoro pondered deeply. After a moment, he realized aside from this explanation, nothing else could make sense of what had just happened. Hey, what's my next training exercise? At this point, Luffy's voice snapped Zoro out of his thoughts. Zoro thought for a while before speaking. The next step should be strength training. Wait, it seems like you don't need that. Slash training and strength training are the two foundations of swordsmanship. Since you've already mastered both, the next step is to grasp the essence of the sword. How do I do that? First, you need to choose a suitable blade. This one feels fine, I'll use it. Then, decide which style suits you best, one sword, two sword, or multi-sword techniques. For example, I'm a three-sword style user. Which sword style, huh? Luffy fell into deep thought. After a brief pause, he raised the sword in his hand. I'll start with one sword first. Seeing Luffy choose the one sword style, Zoro continued. To truly grasp the way of the sword, you must fight using your blade. Only through combat can you adapt to your weapon and carve out your own path. Secondly, after each battle, reflect and meditate to refine your understanding of your swordsmanship, identifying flaws and improving. Hearing Zoro's guidance, Luffy nodded. Got it. No time to waste, let's split up and train. Without wasting another second, Luffy dashed off into the forest. With his slash training and strength training complete, all that remained was to gain insight into the sword through real battles. Typically, someone like Zoro, who came from a formal dojo, would initially practice with fellow students until they gained enough skill to survive in actual combat. But for Luffy, he skipped that stage entirely since his strength already ensured self-preservation. As per usual, Luffy provoked hundreds of wild beasts in the forest, then switched to a wooden sword and began his brutal animal hunting journey. A week later. Standing in front of the restaurant, Lupe looked at Zoro. Didn't you say your money would last us a month? Hearing this, Zoro seethed with frustration. You never mentioned you ate this much either. All the money Zoro had saved up as a bounty hunter had been devoured by Luffy. Fortunately, while money might run out, people don't starve easily, not with their level of strength. Unfortunately, the wild animals in the forest suffered greatly. The two continued their training in the mountains. When hungry, they randomly selected a training partner, wild beast, to hunt and roast. When thirsty, they picked fruits from the forest. One day, it was Luffy's turn to gather fruit. He spotted coconut trees near the beach. Grabbing onto the edge of the cliff, he launched himself outward with a rubbery bounce. Landing on the shore, Luffy plucked several coconuts. Just as he was about to leave, a wave crashed against the sand. Huh? Luffy's gaze sharpened slightly. He turned toward the beach. Ding. Entering the bonus quiz segment. Suddenly, a question appeared on the big screen. Question. What did Luffy see when he glanced back? A. A battleship. B. A pirate ship. C. A devil fruit. D. A shark. E. A stranded princess. Rox D. Gibbik. A quiz has arrived. The presence of a quiz meant there would be rewards, and Rox was absolutely thrilled. Shikey. What are you getting so excited about? You got the last question wrong. If you mess this one up too, you'll lose 2 consecutive chances to answer. Rox D. Gibbik. Damn it. Shikey, you bastard. Shikey. You ungrateful brat. I'm warning you for your own good, and you still curse at me. Fine, next time I won't bother reminding you. Goldie Roger. Haha. I didn't answer the last question, so my chances are still intact. But these options are tricky. Sengoku. This question is pure guesswork. I'm not choosing yet. Suru. From the options, A, B, and D seem plausible. However, C and E can't be ruled out either. It's all down to luck. Amidst the chatter, the 5-second penalty protection period quickly passed. Alvita. C. If it's correct, it must be C. Just guessing randomly. Buggy. C. If it's correct, it must be C. Just guessing randomly. Goldie Roger. C. If it's correct, it must be C. Just guessing randomly. Sengoku. Roger, do you know the answer? Kuzan. What's going on here? Why are they all so confident in choosing C? Devil fruits aren't exactly cabbages lying around, it's not that easy to stumble upon one, right? Rox D. Gibbik. Roger, what's gotten into you? Shikey. Damn it. This must be the correct answer. Goldie Roger. What are you thinking? I have no idea what the correct answer is. Monkey D. Garp. Then why did you choose C? Goldie Roger. I just happened to glance at little Buggy over there. I felt a wave of nostalgia and decided to copy his choice. Besides, even if I get this wrong, it won't trigger the penalty mechanism. Oh, by the way, little Buggy, you've been awfully quiet. Don't you miss me? Buggy. Captain. On the marine warship bound for Impel Down, Buggy's emotions surged. His throat tightened, his eyes reddened, and tears welled up. When Roger died, he had cried non-stop for 3 days and nights. During his time as an intern aboard the Roger Pirates, both he and Shanks were deeply cared for by Roger. Though Roger believed Shanks would become the ruler of the next era, Buggy never resented him because he trusted Roger's judgment to be flawless. Originally, Buggy had planned to follow Shanks and personally set sail for the ultimate island, Laugh Tale. But back then, Shanks hadn't intended to head to Laugh Tale immediately. Thinking Shanks was hesitating out of fear, Buggy grew furious and ended up parting ways with him. He wanted to carve out his own path. But now, things weren't going well for him. He'd only just escaped from prison. Although he longed to reconnect with his captain, he feared Roger finding out about his current situation. It was like a child who'd been away struggling for over a decade, but had achieved nothing. How could he face his parents? Now, hearing Roger call out to him, how could he not feel moved? However, the surrounding pirates' eyes widened in shock upon overhearing Roger and Buggy's conversation in the chat room. Holy crap. This seemingly ordinary guy actually calls Pirate King Roger captain. And judging by Roger's tone, their relationship wasn't ordinary at all. WHOA. There's a hidden big shot among us escaped convicts. Buggy. Captain, I miss you so much. Goldie Roger. Ahaha. Hearing you say that makes me so happy. Edward Newgate. Guerrera. Isn't that Red Nose? Even though decades have passed, I still remember when you and Shanks, as interns on Roger's ship, dared to face me head-on during my prime. Holy crap. But those words, the atmosphere on the marine warship exploded. All the prisoners' jaws dropped to the floor. We looked at Buggy again, and everyone's eyes were filled with awe. The subordinate Pirate King Roger couldn't forget. Someone who debuted alongside red-haired Shanks. An intern brave enough to challenge Whitebeard at the height of his power. Each of these achievements alone was something ordinary people could never reach in their entire lives. And yet, all of them belonged to one person. Right before their eyes, the legendary Buggy-sama. BB Buggy-sama, I spoke a little too loudly earlier. Please forgive me. Buggy-san, let me join your pirate crew. I'll serve you faithfully. Big shot, take me under your wing. Let me become your loyal follower. Forgive my ignorance, Buggy Dono. I failed to pay my respects earlier. Please accept me as your junior. 1. The prisoners went wild. After escaping from Hell's Impel, they were forced onto the marine warship due to the Navy's designated water current routes leading to Marine HQ. But after that, where were they supposed to go? Previously, they had no goals, wandering aimlessly like soulless husks adrift in the wilderness. But now, their guiding light had appeared. This big shot with the world's most unique nose. In their darkest hour, he shone so brightly it blinded them. Follow him. That was the unanimous decision in every prisoner's mind right now. A storm raged across the seas, lightning splitting the sky as thunder roared like an ancient beast awakened from slumber. The waves crashed violently against the shores, but amidst this chaos, something even more extraordinary was unfolding. Goldie Roger. Little Buggy, I followed your choice. Why did you pick C? Are you sure this answer is correct? Buggy. Captain, I also just went with what was chosen above. Although Buggy had followed Alvida's choice, it wasn't blind conformity. He and Alvida had been allies for a long time, both entrenched in the East Blue for years. Buggy's main base was in Orange Town, while Alvida's stronghold lay on Kotu Island. And now, the video playing showed the exact location: Kotu Island. Alvida had chosen option C without hesitation once the 5-second protection period expired, clearly indicating she had strong confidence in her decision. Buggy. Alvida, are you sure about picking C? Alvida. I'm not certain. My devil fruit was indeed found on Kotu Island, but I remember discovering it inside some rocks. So, I can't say if C is correct or not. However, even if we get it wrong, no punishment mechanism will trigger. Monkey D. Luffy. So that's where you ate the devil fruit, huh? Alvida. Yes, and thank you for punching me all the way here, Luffy. You're the only man who has ever laid a hand on my beautiful face, and I've taken a liking to you. Nami. PFFT. Nika Robin. Our captain sure is popular with the ladies. Nefertari Vivi. Luffy, you really do attract women effortlessly. Sanji. Ah. Damn you, Luffy. Oh Hancock. You wretched woman, who do you think you are? Luffy-sama belongs to me. Anyone who tries to take him from me will die by my hands. Unquixote Flamingo. Fufufu. This is getting chaotic, isn't it? Orsolino, Kizaru. Looks like Garp-san won't have to worry about his lineage anymore. Trafalgar Law. Our Straw Hat Captain truly is something else. Answer countdown timer. 9. At this moment, the countdown timer for answering suddenly appeared. Suru. Forget it. Let's skip this question. Guzan, Akiji. Yeah, there are too many uncertain factors here. Besides, the correct answer might already be taken. No point wasting our chances. 8. Unquixit da Flamingo. I'm skipping this one too. Monkey D. Luffy. I choose D. Nami. You idiot, Luffy. D stands for sharks. Monkey D. Luffy. Yeah. Sharks could appear at the beach, right? Urano is Oro. This idiot. 3. 2. 1. 0. As the countdown ended, the frozen image resumed playing. Luffy turned his head toward the past. There it was, a mysterious fruit covered in strange patterns, washed ashore by the waves onto the sandy beach. Clearly, the answer was C. The devil fruit. Alvida. That's it. That's my slip fruit. Ding. The top 3 winners of this quiz are Alvida, Buggy, and Goldie Roger. Congratulations to the 3 winners. Here are your rewards. Congratulations, Alvida. Reward. Zanpakuto Tengumaru. Congratulations, Buggy. Reward. Bloodline Limit Shikatsu. Congratulations, Goldie Roger. Reward. 1 resurrection opportunity. Holy crap. When the chat room saw Roger's reward, it exploded into chaos. Shiki. Resurrection. Oh my god, Roger, you're back. Brox D. Zebek. Damn it. Why does Roger get a resurrection chance? This bastard. Kazuki Odin. Wow. Captain Roger, you've come back to life. Silver's Rayleigh. Wonderful. Welcome back, King of the Pirates. Shanks. Captain. I'm so glad. Buggy. Captain. Edward Newgate, Whitebeard. Congratulations, Roger. Crocus. Captain has returned, what an incredible event. Douglas Bullet. Great. Captain Roger, I finally have another chance to challenge you. Charlotte Linlin, Big Mom. Roger's revived, what a troublesome development. Kaido. That guy is definitely trouble. But things are different now. It's our era. Orsolino, Kizaru. Could he actually come back? If he does, the seas will become chaotic again. Sakazuki, Akainu. HMPH. Whether he revives or not, any pirate must face the absolute justice of the Marines. Sengoku. Damn it. How could this happen? But at least the Marineford War has already begun. Once the viewing system ends, the war will commence. Even if Roger revives, he shouldn't make it in time. Monkey D. Garp. Roger. Roger. Say something. Did you revive or not? While the chat room erupted in heated discussion, somewhere in the afterlife, Roger's soul drifted silently through the void. Ding. Congratulations. You have received 1 resurrection opportunity. Would you like to use it now? Use it? Roger didn't hesitate for a second. This resurrection chance meant everything to him. His son, Ace, was currently awaiting execution on the Marineford scaffold. As a father, being powerless to stop this filled him with unbearable anguish. Now, with this chance to return to life, he could rush to Marineford and save his beloved son with his own hands. Ding. Resurrection opportunity successfully activated. Please select the age at which you wish to resurrect. Any age between 0 and 53 is available. Roger died at the age of 53, meaning he could choose any age from his previous life to revive at. For most people, choosing a younger age would extend their lifespan significantly. Of course, infancy would be out of the question. But Roger's primary goal in reviving was to save his precious son. First came strength, then age. After a brief moment of thought, Roger declared, I choose 38. 38 years old. That was the peak of Roger's power. Next, please elect the location where you wish to resurrect. Any place is possible. He could even choose his resurrection location. Upon hearing this, Roger's heart surged with joy. He had worried that even if he revived, he wouldn't make it to Marineford in time for the war. But now, the system gave him the privilege of teleportation rights directly into the battlefield. What was he waiting for? Marineford. Right beside Whitebeard. Conditions set. Beginning resurrection. 3. 2. 1. 0. BUZZ. Roger's soul erupted into dazzling golden light. In the next instant, it transformed into a streak of radiant energy, vanishing from the afterlife. The atmosphere at Marineford was tense, the battlefield alive with chaos and uncertainty. The clash between forces had reached its peak, but an unexpected twist would soon send shockwaves through everyone present. Marineford, bustling with activity. Old man, if Roger really has revived, wouldn't that give us a massive boost in strength? Marco looked at Whitebeard, his excitement barely contained. Bararara. That's true, but Whitebeard chuckled, a sly grin spreading across his face. We still don't know for sure whether Roger can actually come back to life. What do you mean? Marco asked, puzzled. Whitebeard glanced at the chat room, noting the lack of response from Roger, then turned back to Marco. You're forgetting something important, distance. If Roger revives on Logtown, by the time he gets here, the war will already be over. Ah. Hearing this, Marco's excitement vanished instantly. Everyone knew Roger had been executed in Logtown. Logically speaking, even if he were to revive, it would likely be there. So all that excitement was for nothing. Jozu sighed. But Vista smiled confidently. It doesn't matter. Our plan didn't include Roger in the first place. If he does revive now, the Marines will feel pressured, which gives us the advantage. Jozu's eyes lit up. That's right. Haha, we're still in a favorable position. BUZZ. Suddenly, a burst of golden light erupted on the empty ground beside Whitebeard. What is that? What's going on? Didn't the viewing system lock everyone in place? Who's using devil fruit powers? Protect Pops. Damn it, I can't move. If this is an enemy, we're doomed. Up on the high platform, Sengoku also noticed the sudden appearance aboard the Moby Dick. What is that? Sengoku furrowed his brows, his aged face creased with worry. No way could it be. Kuzan Akiji stared at the golden glow, his suspicions growing. Borsellino Kizaru narrowed his eyes slightly, visibly shocked. Sakazuki Akainu, however, remained as stoic as ever, as though nothing could faze him. In the next moment, the golden light beside Whitebeard abruptly vanished. The figure appeared before everyone's eyes. Holy crap. When they saw who it was, every single person at Marineford couldn't help but mentally curse under their breaths. Roger. Marco, whose perpetually sleepy eyes rarely opened fully, now gawked wide-eyed like glowing pearls. What? Roger. On the high platform, Sengoku's eyes widened in utter disbelief. How could this happen? How did Roger suddenly appear out of nowhere? Tsuru frowned deeply, her expression grim. It must have something to do with that resurrection reward. Perhaps Roger can choose his revival location autonomously. Kuzan gritted his teeth. So it really is Roger. Borsellino's face twisted in frustration. Ugh, Roger plus Whitebeard, this is turning into quite the mess. Sakazuki remained cold and unbothered. Perfect timing. Let him join Whitebeard in death right here. Below the Admiral's platform stood the Shichibukai. Yufufufu. Chaos. Let it reign supreme. Doflamingo was ecstatic. Thanks to Trafalgar Law's earlier promise, Doflamingo had become a prime target for elimination once the viewing system ended. Now, with Roger appearing at Marineford, he had a glimmer of hope. Hey haha, don't worry, I've got backup. Once the lockdown lifts, grab my hand and I'll fly us out of here. Moonlight Moria flashed his sharp gleaming teeth at Doflamingo, winking mischievously. Yufufufu, you're such a kind soul, aren't you? Doflamingo smirked insincerely at Moria. Thinking about devouring me whole, are you? Let's see who devours whom. On the deck of the Moby Dick, Whitebeard himself was the most stunned. Roger stood right beside him, clearer than anyone else could see. Because this wasn't the frail Roger moments before his execution, it was Roger in his prime, during the peak of his power. Roger, you've truly revived. Whitebeard struggled to suppress his astonishment as he spoke. Hahaha. Whitebeard, I'm back. Roger laughed heartily, instinctively reaching out for a hug. Realizing his arms couldn't move as intended, Roger paused, momentarily confused. Then it dawned on him. It seems even after reviving, I'm bound by this viewing system like the rest of you. Roger remarked casually. But Whitebeard paid no mind to that. He pressed on, asking, Roger, what age did you choose for your body? Oh, that. Haha. I chose to revive at 38, the height of my strength. Roger instinctively patted his chest. Looks like actions on myself aren't restricted. Seeing his hand touch his own chest, Roger raised an eyebrow in surprise. That's correct, Marco explained. You can only make small movements within a limited range. Any action toward others is strictly prohibited. Looking at Roger in his prime, Whitebeard's eyes filled with envy. Roger was originally 5 years older than him. But now, while Roger stood in the prime of his life, Whitebeard was nearing the end of his. Anyone in his position would feel bittersweet about it. Still, he quickly composed himself. He turned to Roger. Roger, with you in your prime joining us, we'll definitely save your son. At these words, Roger and Whitebeard locked eyes. Gratitude welled up in Roger's gaze. Ace owes you so much, Whitebeard. Thank you. Ace is my son, but he's also yours. If not for the viewing system's restrictions, Roger would have embraced Whitebeard tightly in that moment. Rara. Hearing you say that makes this old man happy. Whitebeard let out a hearty laugh. Then let's save our son together. Agreed. Roger laughed freely. He turned toward the execution platform, his gaze sweeping past Sengoku and landing on Ace. Ace, too, was staring at Roger, but when their eyes met, he instinctively looked away. But then Roger's voice boomed across the battlefield. Ace. Listen carefully, you may not have much, but you've got plenty of fathers. You've got me, the Pirate King, as your dad, and Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors, as another. Whoever wrongs you will regret it dearly. Roger shoved his hands into his pockets, his piercing gaze scanning the entire battlefield. In that moment, the aura of a king from a bygone era descended upon them all. Those who had lived through Roger's era felt as though they were reliving the days when he ruled the seas. And more terrifying still. Standing beside Roger was the crescent-mustached man who reigned supreme in this era. 2 kings of different eras had simultaneously arrived at Marineford. Thanks for watching this video. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow Alkaysare for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.